All right. Hi, I'm Steve Thompson, president of Emery Thompson Machine, and welcome to Make It Fresh. This is a course that we do just about every other month, and this is where our videos are generated from. With me today is Tie-Dye Jeff. Nice new thing this is. Mystic Ice Cream Boot Camp.
I want one.
You want one?
Yeah.
Okay, you got it.
All right.
And if you'll introduce yourself, Christi.
I am Christi Brown, Vice President now of Sales and Marketing for Emery Thompson.
Wait a minute. Last month it was Sales Manager.
Yeah.
What is that title again?
Vice President of Sales and Marketing now.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Very good. You do a great job.
When do I get a promotion?
Right now. You get to drive a temporary car.
Oh, I want to tell you, I got no respect.
No, you don't. Jeff's going to lead off. We have an agenda to pass out.
Such as it
Yeah,
is.
such as it is. Jeff has changed all his flavors, and so he'll describe them
Let's
as we
hear
go
the
along.
apology. I don't.
Huh?
Let's hear your apology.
Oh, you mean about that? You wrote me and said that you couldn't get Butterfingers.
Living in a world
because,
where you can't
you had Butterfingers and they couldn't.
We need bladders.
We need bladders.
Bladders.
I got one right here. It's good.
Bladders. If I'm on, I'll do this. You'll get them. If you want to be on, I'll go get them.
Okay.
Okay. What?
I'm going to go get it.
Okay.
So I'll turn it over to Jeff.
Okay. So, hey, you in the back, pay attention. It's time. We're on. Let's see, I have 3 people from my class here, and the rest of you are newbies. All right, what we're going to do is, the first thing I'm going to make, I don't know what it says on your sheet. Do you have a sheet that tells you what we're making? Yeah, but ignore that. We're going to make, do you know what cream ice is? You know what Italian ices is? Okay, Italian ice is water, sugar, and flavor. Cream ice, water, sugar, flavor, little bit of mix, dairy blend, cream, okay? And it's the halfway point between Italian ices and ice cream. It's a terrific product. Now, I make plenty of cream ice at the store and in my years, but I've never made this cream ice. So we're going to make Very Berry cream ice. Very Berry. It has a nice... Is this on? Yeah. Okay. All right. Very Berry cream ice. I guess we have to wake up after a while, right? I've been up since 4. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some blueberries, frozen blueberries, and we're going to put them in this marvelous little machine, and we'll add a little of this to make a slurry. You know what slurry is? We're going to make a slurry. Hey, how you doing in the back? We'll make a slurry. Well, let's see. Let's go this way. The dairy mix comes in what we call bladders. It's a bladder. They come 2 to a box. Each bladder is 10 quarts, 2.5 gallons. For a free prize, how many ounces in a gallon?
28.
I know you know, they don't know. All right, so we'll take a little bit of this so that we can mix up those blueberries nicely in the Ninja. So we'll just take my trick. All right. And I figured we'll start off the day with something a little lighter than ice cream. So we'll do cream ice, right? All right, so we'll add a little of this just to make a, what are you looking at? Just to make something nice in here, and we'll give it a little beat.
Your famous Ninja blender.
Wow, look at the color of that. Is that cool? You see that? It's really purple. Okay, We also need some sugar.
Have lots of that.
So I have brown sugar here. Now this is light brown sugar. You can use, this is the art of the ice cream. You'll use light brown, maybe use dark brown, maybe use white sugar. Domino's, how thoughtful.
Yes, well, it's the only pure cane sugar.
Ain't we got fun? All right, so we need a half a pound of this, and the scale isn't plugged in.
Do we have to beat your heart to get it working too?
Oh, boy.
Okay, that works.
Okay, so we need a half a pound of sugar. Which machine am I using? This one?
12 quarts.
Oh, okay, so we only need quarter pound of sugar. How many ounces is that?
4.
4 ounces of sugar. More or less. Okay. Little sugar. Now the machines that we're using have already been sanitized. When you break down the machine, you're going to take everything out, the door off. This process only takes 8-10 minutes, but you'll do all that, and then when you put it back together, when you reassemble it for making ice cream the next day, you'll put it all together and then take a bucket with some Sterashine or Clorox, a couple of capfuls of Clorox. I shouldn't say that, right?
That's fine.
Okay. And that's what I always use. And then you'll rinse it. You'll turn it on for a few seconds, 20 seconds, and then drain it, and then that sanitizes the machine. So overnight, the smell from the sanitizer will dissipate. And now in the morning when you do this, it smells just good and clean. Now, of course, the law is ridiculous because I just desanitized the whole machine by opening it. But that's another story. Yes, go ahead, you're on.
This is for this one, this is a 12 quart machine. It makes 10 to 12 quarts in 8 minutes. That's the dasher that's inside. I've got a couple of pieces holding it together, but these two blocky blades are spring-loaded, and they're going to push out against the walls, and they're going to scrape the ice cream off the walls as it's making it. This is an old process that my grandfather, Emery Thompson, developed in 1917. And before that, this is what he was using. This is an old rock salt and ice machine, and this has a dasher, as we call it, inside here. You pour the ingredients in, and the blades throw out against the walls, and you turn a crank. The same thing is going on here, except we've turned it sideways, so it will discharge faster. So it's the exact same process of what we call homemade ice cream.
Is that it?
That's it for now.
Okay. I just made a faux pas. We're making cream ice out of this. I was referring to the formula that had ice cream. So we'll add a little more sugar. Cream ice, you can write this down. The formula for every cream ice in the universe is 3-2-1. 3-2-1. And then you can adapt that for your particular machine, the capacity. 3-2-1, 3 quarts of water, 2 pounds of sugar, and 1 quart of ice cream blend or mix. And it's 3-2-1, and you can make any cream ice in the world. And when you taste it, you'll appreciate how good cream ice really is. Okay, so we'll up the sugar to, the reason we're upping sugar is because we're adding so much water, and we want the product to be sweeter. In ice cream, the reason that it's less sugar is because of the mix. The mix has a certain sweetness in it. So we'll change this to 1 pound of sugar. Because I said 2 pounds, right, before? Mike, is this working?
I don't think so.
I heard 1 pound.
2 pounds is, the formula I gave you, 3-2-1, is for a 24-quart machine. Not really, but I'm using a 12-quart machine here, so it's actually the same thing.
It's your ratio.
It's my ratio.
2 parts, 1 part.
You keep your hands off my ratio. So now we were always going to change things. We're going to start with this, and then we'll taste it and see where we go from there. So let's put the cream in the machine. And now we need how much water? 3 quarts of water. That'll be enough in this machine, right?
It's a small batch, but it should be okay. While Jeff's putting the water in, a lot of people ask, do they have to purify the water or do anything to it?
Yeah, they asked that in class yesterday.
Yeah,
Purify the water.
and the answer is twofold. 99% of the time, the answer is no. Because if you're up here in Brooksville and we don't see a lot of tourists, everybody grew up on this water. So they don't know that this water is a high mineral content and tastes different from what we have, say, in New York, where Italian ice is king. So since they're used to the water, no, you don't have to do anything. You go down to Miami, and most of Miami is tourists, and they've all come down from New York and New England and Boston and all. And there you might have to purify the water because most of the water in Florida is going through coral reef and has this high mineral content. So look at so the answer to the question of do I have to purify the water is who are you catering to? If it's a local market, it's a local water. If everybody is imported, if you're all down in the U.S. Virgin Islands and everybody's come down, the water is so different down there that you would want to maybe put in a Culligan water purification system.
Remember the old ad, hey, Culligan man?
Exactly. Well,
all right, here's how these machines work. They all have this little panel on it, which is called an infinite overrun control, which means that you can infinitely, theoretically, control all the speeds of your machine. We're going to make this at 234 revolutions per minute, which is the maximum. So we hit make ice cream, we hit homemade, which is 234, and we start it up. And there it goes. It's very simple. I mean, even you guys could do this.
I already know how. Why are you looking at me?
And now we'll add some light brown sugar. And understand, I never made this before. I'm following Steve's plan of try it. If they don't like it, let them go somewhere else.
Or scratch it and start over.
Right. Or adapt it, like that big shark up there.
Did you add your dairy?
What?
Yes. You did. Christi, is the water onto the machine?
Yes.
Great.
Is it?
I'll stand over here and check.
That's in the class. Remember I told you, as soon as you start the machine up, go look in the sink, make sure the water's flowing.
Machines are either, you have to cool the engine. They're either air-cooled or water-cooled. The small ones are air-cooled, like your home refrigerator. It's sucking in cool air and blowing out hot air. These come either air or water. We prefer water because it doesn't put hot air into the room. And you just have to remember that it's turned on. It's only using water when you turn on the refrigeration switch. Turn that off, no water use. So when someone calls up and says, how many gallons per hour does it use? The answer is, it doesn't. If you make one batch of ice cream, it's going to use 4 gallons of water. If you don't make any more ice cream that day, then it used 4 gallons for the whole day.
Now it's just a habit that I've always had. Before I turn the refrigeration on, which is this button here, I taste it. And then I can adapt it and change things. And I know, that's right.
And I tell his customers, if you taste anything crunchy in the ice cream, just ignore it, it's his spoon.
Well, not good enough.
Okay, what's it need?
Got any fruit?
No.
Okay. Oh, guess what I forgot? Come on.
The berries?
I forgot the guava. No wonder. See, my taste said needs more fruit. That's a good thing that just happened there. I'm glad that happened. Sort of. Forgot the guava.
So when you're teaching your employees this, because hopefully you won't be making the ice cream forever, you do need to get a vacation sometime. Teach trusted employees. It's a lot of fun. They're going to love making your ice cream. Put it on a 3x5 file card and keep copies of it so you can say, here, this is the way you do it. Do not deviate. Whether you agree with me or not, this is the formula we're doing. Because we want consistency from day to day and year to year. If we go up to... That looks like interesting.
What?
That looks interesting. Is that a...
I don't even know if it's edible.
Was that a shark steak?
Yeah, that's what it looks. Looks like tuna.
It
Raw
looks
tuna.
like tuna.
But we'll see.
I eat guava paste, but I do it with cheese and crackers.
Huh.
Yeah, that's what I say, huh? Look, by the way, if this is no good, don't run out of here. You got 5 more things that'll be good.
Yes, at the end of the day, we have a bacon ice cream that Christi's husband came up with, and that's why we're saving it for last, because it's the best.
It's amazing. It's candied maple bacon ice cream. It's
That's how we
amazing.
keep you from running out of here in an hour.
Does anybody
Get the
watch,
stuff out
or
of the
has anybody
can.
signed up for a Q&A that we do every week? Yes? So every week, Steve and I get together and we do a Q&A. So it's customers call in or send us an email with questions, and then we find and pick the most interesting ones, and then we sit and chat about them, and we ask them and answer them on camera. And then only subscribers can get that link, and you can watch those videos. Well, one of the questions was that I had got, how do you make ice cream with real bacon in it? I didn't know, but I was going to find out. You can make just about anything, so that's what we did, and I had to go off to Penn State, so I commissioned my husband to do it, gave him a base formula, said, this is what you're going off of, just figure it out from there. And he did, and he got it the very first try, so that's what we're going to do today.
How's
Really
it
good.
now?
Ah, that's better.
Okay.
I'm curious.
That's better. Before, I tasted it and I said, uh-oh, no good. That's, by the way, this is a good thing. Remember we talked about tasting before we always, this is why. I forgot an ingredient, the ingredient, but sometimes you forget there's 5 ingredients, you forget to add the sugar. So tasting it is a clue. And this wasn't set up. I tasted it and I knew that it wasn't good. It needed something. So, you want to try it?
No.
Okay.
However, a warning. There's nothing worse than a reformed anything. I just lost 10 pounds, and so I'm not going to taste everything. Jeff just turned on the refrigeration, so now we're freezing, and the timer is starting on the machine. Just a little bit of warning. Once you have your formulas, you don't need to taste anything, and you make 15 batches of ice cream today, and you taste each one, let's say 16, did you mean to eat 16 ounces of ice cream today? And are you going to eat 16 ounces of ice cream tomorrow? You know, just keep it in mind, because it's too tempting. So I don't taste everything. Yes.
Check the water output on this. Okay, never mind.
It takes a minute or two for the machine to warm up before it uses water.
Okay, so now we're in that limbo period where the ice cream's being made and we have nothing to do.
And Jeff does card tricks.
What?
And Jeff does card tricks.
Yeah. So listen, here's a very important thing. When you're making ice cream or ices or anything with the machine, 2 things I think you should do. I think you should do it when the store is closed. I think that's very important. And the other thing, don't be occupied with something else. Don't be playing Angry Birds on your phone or doing whatever. Reading a book is okay, listening to music is okay, as long as you're there. Don't leave the room. Don't go outside and get on the phone because the reception's better. Pay attention to what you're doing. I didn't pay attention in putting the ingredients in, and it's just as easy to not pay attention and you're going to let it go too far, go too long or whatever. Is anybody making ice cream currently?
Yeah.
What does this mean?
It's not near as extensive as that. It's just soft serve with a few things thrown into it, and it's
Okay.
much like the bag you have up there, the bladder. But sometimes we church it up with certain things, and then other times it, well, I guess all of them get churched up a
It's
little
always
bit.
tweaked.
Yeah.
Except for the chocolate.
Are you selling it? Mm-hmm. And the big question, of course, anybody buying it?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
There's other stuff there, too. It's not just solely an ice cream shop.
Did you taste it?
Someone else was making ice cream? Yes.
Well, small, I can never pronounce it.
Musso Lilo.
I was gonna say
I know,
Musso.
that's why I said.
Yeah, and I've been experimenting with that, so,
You weren't far off.
yeah.
And now you're having fun with that?
It is, it's fun.
That's great.
Yeah, I screwed up a couple of recipes, but like you said, don't start over. But it's
good.
fun, it's fun experimenting.
How many people are planning on going into the ice cream business? Oh, everybody here. How about Italian ices? Anybody planning to do that with it? There, okay.
Wait a minute, hold on.
Possibly.
You're already in the business, so you're not planning on...
Well, that felt like a loaded question there.
Yeah.
I am.
Well, let's put it this way. How many people are going to consider
Expanding.
going out of business? So everybody is into the... And let's try to see. Steve just said, Italian ices,
3.
ice cream. See, that's the trap. Oh, yeah, I want to do it all. You can't do it all.
Yeah, you can.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can.
No, you can't. Isn't that a song? That was a song. No, you can't. Yes, I can. No, you can't.
Good morning, welcome.
Good morning.
No, you can start out with either one. It depends on what your interests are. But the machine will do. Technically, the machine will do hard ice cream of any air content. It'll do gelato, super premium, all the way down to frozen custard. It'll do sorbet, sorbetto. Those are fancy names for Italian ice, or as they call it in Philadelphia, Italian water ice. In Alabama, it's called Greek ice, because 6 Greek brothers left Brooklyn and moved down to Alabama, and they said, why should we call it Italian ice when we're Greek? So the reason, the answer is, you can call it anything you want. Hawaiian ice over in Hawaii. But these are all things the machine can do because a batch freezer is like your oven at home. For a minute, we could call your oven at home a batch oven. You put in a tray of tater tots, and when they're ready, you take the whole batch of them out. You put in a couple of steaks when they're ready, and you pull them out. A green bean casserole, put in the oven and take it out. The oven doesn't know. It has a temperature control. We have a speed control, but it doesn't know whether you're doing tater tots or a green bean casserole. It's just a big source of heat. This is just a big source of cold and agitation. We have products in there that are freezable. Water and sugar, water and strawberry flavor is not freezable. It'll make an ice cube. But if you put in sugar or allulose, which is my sugar-free product, or agave, you're going to come out with a frozen dessert. So anything that you want to make can be made on this machine. Those of you going into ice cream, if we were talking 8-10 years ago, we'd probably be talking about 20, maybe 30 flavors of ice cream. Jeff and I and Christi have decided, and by talking to a lot of customers worldwide, that we're hitting somewhere around 12 flavors. I contend that almost everybody coming into your store already has a favorite flavor and they know what they're going to buy. I know I'm going to buy mint chip, but I walk in and I see all these flavors on display, which we think is a mistake. We see all these flavors and we just go, well, maybe I'll try that, or maybe I'll try that. It seems harmless enough, but they're slowing down the line. And Americans will not wait online for anything, not for a long period of time. You've seen people doing the Thai pan, the Thai method, where you put it on a cold plate and you move it around like a Japanese restaurant, and then you put it into the cup. Watch the video and watch the timing on it. 6 minutes and 23 seconds for one portion. Multiply that times 10 customers, you're talking 63 minutes for me to get served. Same thing with the nitrogen gas ice cream. You put the dairy in, you hit it with nitrogen, which is a building insurance nightmare to have a big, huge 7-foot nitrogen tank in your building. I don't think your landlord's going to like it. Again, over 6 minutes. So 6 times 10, there's an hour wait. People come in and they you talk to them later and they say, oh yeah, we went, it was great. But if you ask them the magic question, would you go back? No, I don't want to wait an hour to get an ice cream cone. So it really is critical that we move these people through the line. So I was just saying how we've cut it down to about 12 flavors to make it simpler for them to decide.
Yeah, and you also made a good point a couple seminars ago about when you go to decide how many flavors you want, it goes off of your dipping cabinet. So if you buy a dipping cabinet that says 12 flavors, 8 flavors, 6 flavors, that tells you a great idea of how many flavors you want to offer. But I'm a little different. I like to see what I'm picking. I'm the one that will stand in the line and I will say, I'm usually fast. I don't take too long, but I have to see what I'm eating. So I'm different.
Yeah, in New York we have Bruno and Knuckles in the store, and they will escort her
Bruno
out.
and Knuckles?
To escort her out. Any questions? This is all about questions.
This is a very
Not
quiet
yet.
class.
Phil, wake up.
You think?
Okay, so
Once they
the
get some
first-
ice cream.
The first thing you did is putting in all the ingredients to make sure they mix first. That's why
You don't have to make sure they mix. They're gonna mix. It's just to taste it to see how
Right,
you
okay.
like it.
Yeah, Jeff's wrong on that one. Jeff uses the machine as a mixer.
I'm a trained chef, so as far as I'm concerned, you taste everything before you do anything.
No, I agree with that. But once you've got your formula, if we're to the point where we have the formula set, you don't need to mix it for 2 or 3 minutes, because in the freezing process, it's like boiling water. I had a physicist explain this to me, that the water seems to do absolutely nothing for the first 4 or 5 minutes of getting to a boil. And all of a sudden, boom, it's a vigorous boil. It doesn't go from just a little, maybe there's a few dribbles coming up in that water, but for the most part, it just goes from plain to boiling hard. And this goes from, not frozen to semi-frozen very quickly. So you've got about 4 or 5 minutes of agitation and refrigeration while it's in there. So everything is fully mixed. The only reason to do the tasting is if you're going to change the formula. But once you've got your formula set, and they're going to be based on our videos, one way or the other. I am not a chef. I don't have any skill like that whatsoever. But I do know that if you said to me, Steve, you must make a lemon cake today, I'm going to pick up The Joy of Cooking or some other book, and I'm going to open it, and it's going to say, I need this much water, sugar, flour, and flavor. Now, what can I play with on that to make, if I go into Steve Thompson's House of Birthday Cakes? Well, I can play with the sugar content. I've got a sweet tooth, so like Jeff, I'm going to go a little higher on the sugar. I can adjust that. I can't adjust the water. It's going to make it mushy. I can't adjust the flour. It's going to make it dry. I can certainly adjust the flavor and the types of flavors and the quality and where I get them. So I've got sugar and flavor I can play with. The same thing, say, in Italian ice or a sorbet. You have to have a certain amount of sugar and water in order for it to even become a sorbet, in order to freeze. In New York, on a bigger machine, I use, to give you an example, 7 pounds of sugar. In Philadelphia, they like their sorbets smoother and creamier. They changed the name to water ice, which sounds awful compared to Italian ice, but that's their product. And it actually has, instead of my 7 pounds of sugar, it has 8 pounds of sugar. The extra pound won't necessarily make it sweeter, but it will make it much smoother and creamier. So you do have latitude in what you do. So you can take Jeff's basic formulas and adjust them to your personal taste.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
Did Italian ices, they have any connection to Italy?
Not that I know of.
No, it wasn't invented there or anything. It's an American.
It's an American thing. But I can't say where sorbet was started. I'm betting not United States.
Oh, I think it was.
I don't know. We'll have to do some research.
I think sorbet is right in between ices and ice cream.
Well, without
But-
the sherbet is between the two. Yeah.
Italian ices. I wonder where Italian ices came from.
I don't know.
Let's do some research on that. That's your homework assignment.
Did I tell you my name is actually Stefano Thompson?
Oh,
and my
please.
great-great-grandfather
Oh, please. Here we go.
from Genoa, Italy?
Yeah. Luigi.
Yes,
Ready?
sir.
I'm curious, I've heard you talk about, y'all make 12 flavors. I've heard, so where is your ice cream store?
Where is what?
Your ice cream store. It sounded like you have an ice cream store somewhere.
No, don't have an ice cream store. I have a website that's got, as of this morning, 460 how to make videos. And by the end of today,
Steve
I'll have
has
four.
about 10,000 ice cream stores.
Oh no, we have 38,000.
There you go.
38,000. What's the latest serial number, Christy?
38,756.
That's how many machines we have out right now around the world.
I feel like Rain Man.
Okay, here you go. So this is it.
That's beautiful.
It's a nice color.
Gorgeous. And that's all natural. He didn't add any artificial colors.
Well, he did with your back turn.
With the what?
With your back turn.
Oh, really?
With the what?
Did you put an artificial color in?
Well, no. What I did was I thought halfway through, I thought I need some more sugar in it, some more fruit. So Christy went around seeing if anybody has some fruit in the freezer here or the refrigerator. Couldn't find anything. So I used about a half a cup of strawberry base. What is base?
Okay.
What is that?
That's,
Puree, like a puree.
It
So
was
I
the
used half a
ice.
cup to that.
Okay.
And it really helped and it made it good. Why don't you taste it?
I will taste this one. I like to taste the ones I've never seen, which is most everything we make. Look at the thickness. Wow. Look at that. That's beautiful. Needs a little bit more guava.
No.
A little bit more.
Well, that's what these
I
chunks
thought more
are.
sugar.
Maybe more sugar. You're right. Sugar enhances the flavor.
Of fruit.
And if you're not using a whole lot of it, it enhances the flavor. Yeah, because it has a little graininess to it.
Yeah.
So a little sugar would do it. The sugar will enhance the flavor without necessarily making it sweeter. So that's always a good starter point. And it's also cheap to do.
But it is very refreshing.
I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty
That's
good.
the whole key is it's refreshing.
Yeah, refreshing.
And this is the cream ice.
Is
Cream
cream
ice.
ice, which is a new fancier name for sherbet. But sherbet was always that sticky gummy stuff that always came in orange or raspberry, and it was just, it pulled, it was so sticky. You know, if you talked to us 15 years ago, we were opening up what's called a number 10 tin, a can about this big of strawberries that couldn't be sold on any other market anywhere, with red dye 40 and high fructose sugar. And that's what we called ice cream. I couldn't sell that today to save my life. It is milk, cream, sugar, skim milk, and fresh frozen strawberries that we've thawed. And that's it. That's really good.
It's growing on you.
Yeah, I'd have more. And you saw how fast that comes out. That's a trademark of Emery Thompson, is we're here to do business. We're not going to sit around here and, decorate a pan all day long, because once you take 2 scoops out of it, it's no longer decorated. So what we want to do is we want to get this made and get on to the next flavor. That's why Jeff was saying, set aside some time to make your ice cream. Don't say, I'm going to make a flavor today and a flavor tomorrow. You get out there and you make 2 or 3 hours worth of inventory and store it. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. This is a specialty freezer called a hardening or a blast freezer. And this goes down to 25 below zero. We sell it. And no matter how much you put into it, it's going to stay at these super cold temperatures. If you buy just a normal, say, true freezer that can go to 20 below, and you put 5 gallons of hot soup in it, that temperature is going straight up to 40. You put that same hot soup in here, and it probably won't get any hotter than 15 below. So it's going to harden the ice cream. And this becomes your inventory. You can fill this up, and we sell this in conjunction, and I'm not trying to make a sales pitch, it's just something to see the combination. We put stores together, Jeff got me onto this, for as low as $35,000 to open a store. That's bare bones, there's no question about it, and it's probably about 700, 900 square feet. Because
you can open your doors and make money.
Yeah, you open those doors and the money comes pouring in. We don't do a lot of 1,800 square foot stores anymore because the rents are too high. So people buy a countertop Emery Thompson batch freezer, which can be run 24 hours a day, if you have the labor, which means you hire someone to do the graveyard shift. I like police, fire, or ex-military. And you start with a chest freezer like Jeff does, and you turn it to 15 below. The problem with this big chest freezer is you can only fill it 1/3 of the way today, or the temperature is going up to 40. So we filled a third today, a third tomorrow, the third the next day. Then when your business gets bigger, you call up and say, I need a bigger Emery Thompson. I say, no, you don't. Go hire a cop to come in 11 o'clock to 6 a.m. And you get a hardening cabinet, and now you can fill this up. It freezes it overnight. You move it to the chest freezer. The chest freezer doesn't have to do any work at all. Now you've doubled your inventory. Get a second chest freezer. Now you've quadrupled your inventory. And so at the start, you couldn't afford this. They're not that bad, but you don't have the money for it. You're $35,000. But your expansion, we're always going to talk to you about where you're going to be in 6 months, a year, 5 years, 10 years. In 10 years, we want you buying that Caribbean island and invite us down to it. So this will become an integral part of your business someday.
So the ice cream, the hard pack, the cream ice, everything should, even the Italian ice should be in the, whether it's a blast freeze or whatever, you should harden it before you serve it?
Not the sorbets or Italian ices. They have to be frozen down. If you leave them in a good pastry shop, you'll see the server scooping the ice. It's actually not at 6 degrees where we scoop ice cream, it's 16 degrees. And without my stabilizers in it or anything like that, the flavor is going to sink to the bottom of the can. Doesn't happen in ice cream, it happens in ices. Sinks to the bottom of the can, and now it's not very good. But our contention and the pastry shop's contention is if you can't sell a tub of lemon ice or raspberry ice in 3 days, maybe that market doesn't like raspberry Italian ice. Maybe it's a bad flavor for that market. So you're looking at what sells. In order to avoid that, because again, I want to make a lot of ice today and be done with it, I want to put it in a freezer where I can get it to below 0. So you couldn't scoop it with a hammer and chisel, it's so hard. At that state, you don't need any stabilizers because nothing's going to fall out. If you go into the supermarket, you're going to find Breyers and Bluebell, I love Bluebell, and other companies, and they have a list of stabilizers and everything else that's in their ice cream. You look at Haagen-Dazs, a company I helped put into business in 1992, Reuben Madison, his mother, and you look at the pint, and the ingredients are milk, cream, sugar, skim milk, and that's it. No stabilizers. I went to Dr. Robert Roberts, head of Penn State University's Dairy School, and said, did they find a way around the law? Are they pulling a scam? He said, no, it's because they sell in pints. And I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, the other ice creams are half gallons, gallons, or 2.5 gallon tubs. It's a lot larger amount of ice cream. It's going to be at serving temperature, 6 degrees, a lot longer amount of time. They're putting in stabilizers. Haagen-Dazs used to be made only in Lodi, New Jersey, was put through a tunnel at 90 below 0, put on the truck at 10 below 0, shipped to Ohio, put into the freezer at the store at 5 below 0, and you take it home, and now you're warming it up, and since it's only a pint, it's only going to last a day and a half. It doesn't have time to deteriorate, and it's all based on the premise of cold is the best stabilizer you can possibly use. I do know an excellent stabilizer for Italian ice if you are doing a big volume, like you're doing a fair or a rodeo. They have rodeos down here in Florida. And never saw a horse in New York. But you are going to be out there for 4 or 5 days at the rodeo. You want to stabilize the product to hold it up, especially for the ices. So Malcolm Stogo, and it's on our website, has a stabilizer that is only guar and carrageenan, which are both natural. I think it's my turn next. Let me see what I've got. I'm going to make a flavor I've never done before, which is always iffy, but we'll see what happens. I'll pass these around.
Ask them how they would change the first product.
Oh yeah, we used to ask, you know, it was very egocentric. Hey, how'd you like that ice cream? Wasn't that great? And now we ask the more intelligent question. We say, okay, if you're up here, what would you change on it? I've already said what I would do. I thought it was going to be more guava. Jeff tells me more sugar. I go with him. Anybody out there, what would you change on this product to make it better
All right,
to
I'm out of
taste?
your way.
Anybody?
I wouldn't change anything. I thought it was great.
Oh, okay. If you can't hear that on the tape, they're all saying don't change a thing, Steve.
If you could add some more sugar to bring those other flavors out, but that would be all I would do either, is just try to bring those flavors out just a little more.
Okay, great. So,
Well, just one last thing. We use guava and blueberries. You can use anything. You can use strawberries and mangoes. You can use kiwis and raspberries. So, there.
Are we doing?
I'm going to do this one.
Oh, you're gonna do it.
Aren't I next? Or you?
I don't know. Go
I
for
guess
it.
so.
No, go for it.
No, you go.
No, it'd be probably best to do ice before ice creams anyway.
Okay. Well, I'm going to make mint chip Italian ice. Now, obviously,
look
mint
good.
chip is an ice cream flavor. But a good friend of ours who owns Ralph's Ices in Staten Island and has multiple locations was down visiting my wife and I over at our other office in the South Florida. And we were talking about ice cream sales. He was saying about, where's my future? What am I going to do? And we said, ice cream doesn't sell that well in Florida. And didn't until we moved down here, until after about 4 years, it dawned on me, why not? Ice cream is dairy fat, just like eating a big steak. And that dairy fat in this 90-degree temperature and this 100% humidity, you come outside into the parking lot at noon and it'll make you sweat. It might give you a stomach ache. It might even give you a headache. But the body doesn't like that high fat. You go to Ruth Chris or some other great steakhouse and have a big 16-ounce porterhouse and then walk out in that noonday sun and you're going to feel awful. So the people in Florida, they don't know why they don't eat ice cream. They just know that it just doesn't make them feel well, so they don't. What we did is what we're running today. The federal government says in order for ice cream to be ice cream, it has to be a minimum of 10% dairy fat, and up in New York and other places it's 12, 14, 16. In New York, where we were located for 100 years, I would have, if Christi had a store in Manhattan and she was running 14% butterfat, a very high fat, Haagen-Dazs is 16. If she's running 14, I would run 16 just for bragging rights. I'm the richest ice cream in New York City. That's not a good reason, but that's what we did. So we all moved down here, invade Florida, invade Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, and we bring our high-fat ice cream concepts with us, and that's why it doesn't sell. It's too high-fat for the market. So Ralph's Ices looked at this, and I told him that story, and he goes back to Staten Island and he says, well, why couldn't we make Italian ice using ice cream flavors? We've always done lemon, cherry, grape, orange, chocolate. Why mango? Why can't we do Oreo cookie Italian ice? Well, you can't do it because it's an ice cream flavor. And that's what we're going to do today is we're going to make mint chip Italian ice. Now, it's going to be a little bit on the fly because I did this mathematically. I'm going to use the small machine, and if I was using this to make mint chip ice cream, I would put in a certain amount of mint extract and mint color, all natural, and my chocolate chips. For the Italian ice, let me backtrack. This dairy product, a glass of milk, has taste. You drink milk, it's got a particular taste to it. Water, on the other hand, has no taste. So when we make ice cream, we're dealing with something that already has taste. We joke, 11 o'clock at night, you were tired, you forgot to put the vanilla in. Well, we're not going to throw the product out, we'll just sell it as sweet cream ice cream. It has no flavor in it. Still tastes like ice cream. But water just doesn't have any taste. So what was the problem and how do we fix it? We increase the amount of flavor into the water. The only flavor we're going to get, we're not going to get any flavor from dairy, we're going to get only from water. So basically I just doubled the amount of flavor that goes in here. Now I do things mathematically and then, like Jeff, taste it and see if it worked. But the math gives me a starting point every single time. So far this is winging it, and we'll taste it and see if it's going to work.
I do not know your formula.
Oh, it's right there.
Okay.
So we're going to start with 4 quarts of tap water.
Is that yours? You need it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. Yell at me.
2 pounds of cane sugar. I'll get the chocolate chips. Where are the chocolate chips? Here they are. Any questions? Oh, I don't know, Jeff. We have to do our greatest Broadway hits if they don't wake up.
It's early.
I have really perfected my act of you got to have a gimmick, and I'm thinking we could do that song.
Okay. I'm game.
How many bags? These are 10 ounces, I think. How many would you put into the CB350? How many would you put into the 24 quart?
What's the? Oh, I would put in a 1 quart container filled.
Okay, it's into a 24 quart.
Yeah.
Into a 24 quart.
Yeah.
So probably 1 bag into here.
Probably. Well, you'll see. You'll see
Maybe
what
a
it
little
looks
more.
like. Maybe a little more. More is always better.
The reason I'm asking Jeff is if you go overboard on chips, all of a sudden you've got a product you can't scoop because it's got so many chips in it that it won't hold together.
And it doesn't
falls
taste
off.
that good because you're constantly chewing chips.
Yes. And you're
Chips should
missing-
be an addendum to the ice cream.
Did I tell you I spoke to a customer the other day? They're going back into the business, and they used to do every topping on earth. I mean, sprinkles and jujubes and everything, M&Ms. And they said, this time we want to do what Jeff does, and we just want to go plain and simple. Because Jeff made a comment, and you're just alluding to it now, that the more junk you throw on top of the finished ice cream, or even sometimes into the ice cream, you're taking away from the ice cream. How can I tell it's raspberry if I've just put butterscotch sauce
The
all
classic example is our best-selling, most famous ice cream is coconut. So what happens when the customer walks up and says, I'll have the coconut, can I have hot fudge on that?
Oh.
And now
Ow.
what are they going to, they're not going to taste your ice cream. You might as well put, store-bought stuff. And that's the way I feel. I'm a purist. I make the best ice cream in the world, and now so do they, right? And if you're going to make the
no, I'll
best
pour it right in the
product
machine.
in the world,
Thanks.
why put something on it that's going to lessen
No,
it,
the machine
take
do it.
away from it? I know people want hot fudge sundaes, they want banana splits, they want crushed pineapple on
Can I
it.
move some of this over? Maybe a little mix up.
Screw them.
So we are really going for keep it simple. Stupid.
Well, keep it good.
Yeah. So Christi has measured out 4 quarts of water, and the sugar here is 2 pounds of cane sugar. If you're watching this video, the formula is already at the website, incorporated into the video.
You might move
2
that
pounds.
bottle there. You might move that bottle from the edge of the table.
Oh, you don't trust me, huh? Okay. So cane sugar dissolves very nicely in water, cold water, and so I'm only going to have to stir it for about 30 seconds.
How does
You know
beet
what?
sugar dissolve?
Oh, we're not getting into that. Maybe we will. I lost my train of thought. If
I'm
we
sorry.
end up, we just put 2 pounds of sugar in here. If I'm pouring this in and there's a little stream of sugar left over that didn't get dissolved, don't worry about it. Forget about it. It's nothing compared to 2 pounds. So we're not that critical in the formula.
Did you just say, forget about it?
Well, I'm
Forget about
I'm
it.
from New York. I did meet, I got to tell you this story because we have an executive chef in the audience. An executive chef, he did the most wonderful thing I've ever seen because they have so much more knowledge than us. And he was making a product, an ice cream, and he tasted it, and he thought about it. And he looked at the bag of sugar with him, and he thought about some more, and then he goes over to the bag of sugar and goes like that into the mix, 5 gallons. And we're all going, wow. And sometimes it is show. It's wonderful, wonderful show. You gotta have a gimmick. Okay.
You gotta have a gimmick.
Close the gate. The last thing we did, last thing Christi did last night was to sanitize the machine.
I did not.
Well,
What you're about to say,
somebody
I did.
sanitized the machine, and of course you leave it open to air dry. So then the next morning you come along and you're pouring the product in, it's going all over the floor, you're cursing Emery Thompson, you're cursing Steve Thompson, the damn machine leaks, you left the gate open. You'll see us walk around, we go over and slap our machines, we just go boom on the handle, like that. See, it was left open. We just go like that just to make sure this one pulls down. Do close it because otherwise I can't stand all the hate.
I thought you were about to blame me for leaving a gate open, which I did.
You
but
thought I was going to
Santa-
throw you under the bus.
I did. I'm like, I did no such thing.
That'll come later. After all, you're vice president in charge of sales and marketing. I'm allowed to throw you under the bus.
No, thanks.
You're welcome. All right, that all dissolved. Pretty good.
Oh, there's a little sugar left in it.
Okay.
Here's your 1.5 ounces of peppermint extract.
Okay.
And I need it back for your...
This is an all-natural peppermint extract. We get this from Green Mountain Flavors. Now, Green Mountain is, you think of Green Mountain State, which is Vermont. He's not. He's in Oswego, Illinois. Green Mountain Flavors. And the president is Stan Sitten. This is our website. Stan is a genius at flavors. Every once in a while, my ego takes over, and I think I'm the smartest person in the business. And this little devil comes on my shoulder and says, "No, you're not. Stan Sitten is," and it's true. So you can make these products even with color, and
Which I'm doing now.
okay, even with the color is made from plants, which is great. No more red dye 40 Oh, that's a lot.
You said 1.5.
Okay, let's try it.
That's just shy of an ounce.
I think we'll adjust it as we look at it. So
Okay.
right now we're at just shy of an ounce. You know, if you put green color into a glass of water, nothing happens. It just gets muddy looking. So I had to go into Christi, and Mike is our senior tech on the board today. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Steve.
I had to go into their office and sit down with them and say, can we put color into water and have it not look muddy? And then I thought, let's see. When we make sugar and water and lemon juice, it's a clear color, but when it freezes, it turns pure white. That's what it looks like. Even if we leave the flavor out, it turns pure white. So it will probably turn green if I put this in. And to test it, we test every single machine here for about 3 hours before it goes out. Every single one of them. Not every fifth one, but every machine for 3 hours. Making sugar water. We have a big, big tank you'll see in the tour of sugar water. And so there was this leftover frozen sugar water, aka Italian ice with no flavor, and I threw some green in, boom, it worked perfectly. So have a pretty good idea what this is going to look like. I'm going to turn on the screen. I'm going to hit Make Ice Cream. I'm going to go to Italian Ice, more recipes, Italian Ice. We have about 10 or 12 in here. That's on. I turn on the refrigeration switch immediately because I know it's going to mix. It's going to take about 13 minutes. Ice cream's about 8. This will be about 13 because of the higher sugar content. So some of Jeff's ice creams take longer to freeze than mine because he puts more sugar in. So that's off and running. We're constantly making improvements on the machine. Right now what we've done is we've put a larger capacity motor in there for the fan. So you can hear it in the background, but it'll stand up to any kitchen anywhere in the world. Kitchens are hot. Questions so far?
So do you have like somebody that services your machines?
Do I have what?
Someone that services the machines, like
Oh,
in different
yes.
areas? Or
Yes.
where are they based at?
The question is about service. First, we have a service network around the country of independent service people. We're like the Culligan, not the Culligan man, but the dishwashers and washing machines. If you waited around for someone to call you to repair an Emery Thompson, you'd go broke. We have service 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. All you have to do is call Emery Thompson. Our business hours are Eastern time, 8 a.m. to 3:30, and the factory opens up earlier. But you always call us first. Don't call your local refrigeration man, because we know 90% of the time it's going to be something you're doing wrong. Let me get a dasher to show you. This is the beater in the CB350. We use what I call Sherlock Holmes deductive reasoning. You call up and say, My machine has been running for 17 minutes and my Italian ice isn't frozen yet, or 20 minutes and my Italian ice isn't frozen yet. And I will say, how old's the machine? Well, we've had it for 4 years. Have you ever had a problem? No. What were you making today? Well, I wasn't. I'm down on my private island in the Caribbean and my assistant is making cherry Italian ice. I said, okay, first off, have the assistant taste the product. And so we have them taste it, and they say, oh, it's awful. It tastes like water and cherry juice. I said, yeah, I know, because you left the sugar out of the formula. You know, drag them out, shoot them in the kneecaps, and then fire them. If it's not that, if the formula is right, when you put the machine together, did you put it together properly with the two dots, which I'm going to show you? And they say, yeah, well, I'm on my Caribbean island, and I taught him how to do it, and she's only made the mistake 4 times. This blade, it's going to be impossible to see. Looks like it was cut off at a right angle here and a curvature here. The curvature goes to the back of the barrel to match the curvature of the back wall. If you flip the blade around and they look the same and they'll go on, then it won't freeze. It'll slosh it around and eventually freeze something, but it won't freeze properly. So we saw that so much, we drilled a little hole, a divot in here and in here. So when you put this into the machine, before you put the door on, you say, do I see a hole here? And do I see a hole here? Your machine is working. And I tell this to people, and I had one last night, and the person insisted, almost up to the point of saying, listen, I've been making ice cream for 237 years, and I could never make such a rookie mistake. The person happened to be not in the building, and her assistant was making the ice cream, and she said the assistant has only made that mistake twice. And I said, they've done it again. No, it's impossible. I said, go back to the store, take the door off, take the dasher out, put it back together, and see if it doesn't run correctly. And call me back. They never call back. They're too embarrassed to call back. The point of all this is call us first. We've been building these for 117 years. We have tens of thousands of them out and running around the world. We know every inch of this machine better than anybody else. We don't have production delays from parts because we make almost all our parts. That's a casting from our foundry in Waukesha, Wisconsin. We have the main building here, a machine shop up the street, a machine shop across the street. What we don't build, we buy from USA companies. Emerson, Copeland compressors made in the USA, American-made motors. It's all USA made, so we know it's all reliable. So chances are 99% we can get you running in less than 5 minutes. But if there is a problem, if the switch went bad, if you had a problem with the cable on the infinite overrun controller or something like that, we will ask you where you are, and then we will find the local refrigeration man who handles that area, and we will tell him what to do. Oftentimes in a restaurant or a large establishment, and I'll tell you right now, when you go into the ice cream business, when you bought your first home, didn't you go out and find the name of an electrician, and didn't you find a plumber? Because you know darn well you're going to need an electrician and a plumber. You need a refrigeration person on duty that you know you can call. Not for the Emery Thompson, but you've got dipping cabinets, you've got freezer cabinets, you've got all this refrigeration. You need someone you can call, just like you need a plumber and an electrician. So have that on hand, and then we will work with them, or we'll work with ours, and you call Mike on the phone, Mike McDonald, our senior tech, who knows more about these machines than I ever will, and he will guide you through, he will guide your person through what we want to do. We're the largest manufacturer of batch freezers, and 117 years old. We invented the mechanized batch freezer. We got to be doing something right. And people say our service is second to none. Now I'll tell you one more thing about that. If you'd bought a Taylor machine, who no longer builds batch freezers, if you had a Taylor machine and you called them up on Saturday night, like that example, that was actually Malik Rose, a famous basketball player, and he has multiple stores doing ices. They would have said to you, we'll have someone there Monday morning. I'm sorry you're having a problem, we'll have someone there Monday morning. they would have changed a part in the machine. An expansion valve, $250. They would have changed it. They would have then said, okay, make up your formula and we'll test run it. And it would have run because the formula is correct. The sugar's not missing. And you'd get a $500-600 bill, and you'd say, isn't that wonderful? I was only down for 2 days. Yeah, albeit 4th of July weekend. I was only down for 2 days, but look, they came. They came when they said. They fixed it. It cost me $700. I'm back in business. You call Emery Thompson, and you'll be back in business in 10 minutes because we know you left the sugar out of the formula because we asked you, what does it taste like? And quite frankly, on a weekend and a holiday, you'll get me on the phone. I have offices and telephones everywhere. I can't escape it. And I do it because I like to do it. And if I can't solve it, I text over to Mike McDonald. And if it's something he can do on the spot, he'll talk to you, or Slade Harmon, our vice president, will talk to you. Or otherwise, worst comes to worst, we'll have you fixed Monday morning. So we have you covered, we think, better than anybody else in the world. The only 2 days we don't work, Christmas and Easter. Anybody else? Questions? The chips. Oh, it's green.
I put one back.
Oh, okay. You think that's enough, Jeff?
I think so.
Okay. So we stuck to the formula exactly. Actually, we took down the color a little bit, down to 1 ounce instead of 1.5 ounces. And when you see it, it's beautiful. Another Italian ice that is a true typical Italian ice, watermelon Italian ice. You know how you eat a watermelon that's got seeds? What do? You spit them out. That's half the fun as a kid of eating watermelon. So when I make a watermelon ice, I put in the mini Toll House chocolate chips. So now instead of spitting out seeds, you've got chocolate chips to eat. Nobody else does that. That just makes it fun. Where'd she go? I'll have Christi tell you about one of her formulas when she gets back. It's really amazing what's going on with Italian ices and cream ices, because we were stuck. Lemon, cherry, grape, orange, chocolate. When I first brought home mango to my 4 children, and they were young years and years ago, they would have eaten the frozen green beans before they would try Dad's mango Italian ice. Now it's the number 2 selling flavor in the country after lemon. Lemon's still number 1. Mango's number 2. It's fantastic what we can do. And now we can do any flavor of ice cream that you want in an Italian ice. I'm going to just taste this and see what I think of it. Now that's still soupy, so it's not ready. Wow. The mint is too strong.
Too strong?
Too strong. And I can't recover from that. So I probably wouldn't sell this, but at least now.
What are you making, Italian ice?
Yeah.
Throw a quart of water in. Put water in here.
Okay. And how about a little sugar?
Whoa. Hurry up.
Yeah, I know. Our freezing time is gonna. I put too much extract in. Now, don't do what I'm doing. Write this down when we get to the formula. Write it down, because when it is perfect, you're going to say, oh, that's great. What do we do?
Hurry up.
All right, I'm coming. Now that's going to change the freezing time because we just added warm product into it. Christi, can you tell them about your new Italian ice, the orange cranberry? This is the best thing I've ever eaten. cream?
Orange cranberry. I believe you guys all have the recipe for that one on your table. So it's so simple. It's orange juice and cranberry juice. That's it.
Tell us, speak up.
I'll step closer and louder.
Okay.
So I like to buy the brand Simply Orange Juice because it's straight orange juice and I get the high pulp. So that way your customers can see the pulp that's in there. And it is freshly squeezed orange juice. And then always buy the 100% cranberry juice,
Yeah,
not the cranberry juice cocktail. So mixing those two together, it's a great flavor. And actually we have little coolers that Gelato Supply sells, little styrofoam coolers that you can pack your ice cream into, and I actually took it to the beach with me in the 90-degree hot Florida weather and stuck it in the bottom of the cooler at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon after I packed it at 6 o'clock in the morning. It was still frozen solid. So it's a great little cooler.
Now it's fixed.
Now it's fixed. Good, because I wanted to eat that pecan.
Okay, so especially Ken, our IT man in our Texas IT department, we're going to add 3 more cups of water and a cup of sugar to that formula. So we'll adjust that on the website. We're very precise. Jeff's, well, a little here and a little there.
It worked.
I do the shimmy. I added a cup more sugar, 1 cup.
A quart of water and a cup of sugar.
Now I only added 3 cups of water. 3 cups of water. Any other questions so far? No?
I know. I bought this syrup to make for the candied maple bacon, and I had it sitting on my desk, and everybody at work thought I was drinking bourbon.
That's
Like,
because
it's maple syrup.
That's because the staff does drink bourbon.
We do.
Every Friday afternoon at the end of the day. And I allow it because it's not me doing it. I don't drink it. But my wife started this. She said this was a rough week. And so she went out and got a bottle of bourbon, which then turned into also a bottle of rum and some curacao and some cream of mint and a few other crazy things.
Yeah, we call it the booze drawer.
Every Friday afternoon, everybody gets 1 shot in the office, and we try to hide it from the factory floor. And it's just, you know, we're a family business, and always have been, and I run it as such, which makes it, you know, a lot of fun. Over 38,000 customers right now. If I asked them all for $5, I could retire.
You probably
Not
could.
bad. But then I wouldn't be able to ask them again.
Are you ready? You ready?
Now, since we threw warm water into it, warmer water, it's going to change the freezing time.
The compressor goes right off on this, right?
It automatically shuts itself on and off.
What do you mean?
Did you touch the
Yeah.
button?
Yeah.
Oh, is it ready?
Yeah.
Oh, go through it.
Oh, no, you do it. It's yours.
It also cycles itself on and off. Oh, that looks nice. There's no question but that's mint.
Shut it off.
Good. And Jeff, that was the right amount of chips. It looks very good. So we'll let you try this and see what you think. And now I've got a new flavor.
I could see it being something for St. Patty's Day.
Oh, absolutely. But this concept of taking ice cream flavors and turning them into Italian ice is just a great one. It just expands your business dramatically. Along the same lines that we can talk about later is dairy-free ice cream, which is basically an Italian ice, but instead of water, we're using either a coconut base, coconut milk, or oat milk. I've never seen an oat being milked, but I guess it happens. And it's great. It really is terrific. And it's targeting a specific age group. 21 to 39 are not in love with Haagen-Dazs the way us baby boomers are. And I call up my stores in New England who have been in business for 50, 60 years. They tell me how successful they are. And I say, when was the last time you saw a 38-year-old mother come in with her 5-year-old daughter to buy ice cream? And they go, well, I don't know. It must happen sometime. And I said, no, it's not. you're missing that whole market. And don't tell anybody, but us baby boomers we have an end date, and you need to replace us with other customers. So thus, even though you don't like the word vegan, we couch it now with dairy-free vegan frozen dessert. It's a trend. It's not a fad. And my much older sister, I mean, she's ancient. I think she's 6 years older. My ancient older sister tells me that where Haagen-Dazs can be a little rough on the gut because of the high fat, this is highly digestible. So I think if you get us baby boomers, all 72 million of us, to try it, your market will expand even more. We have a lot of dairy-free vegan recipes up at the website that you can try. Yes, sir.
Just to make sure I'm following, so the only thing you change is the recipe. The machine does the same thing with whatever the product is put in there, right? The ingredients are what makes it the ice versus the ice cream?
Yes. The only thing the machine is doing is with dairy products only. It's changing, by changing the speed, we can get different volumes, different air content. Haagen-Dazs is very heavy. If I take this bowl and I put some heavy cream in here and I stir it with a whisk, it's going to remain heavy cream. I can't turn my wrist fast enough. But if I take an electric mixer and put it in here, boom, it's whipped cream. So we're starting with whipped cream and taking it down to lower speeds. And I tell most people it's magic. I tell engineers what it really is, but to everybody here, I'll tell you it's magic. But basically what we have done, my invention of 22 years ago, is I've taken a motor and I've made it so that I can, usually when you reduce the speed of a motor, like the dining room lights in your house, you're having dinner and they're 100 watt and you dim them down to about 30 watts, 25 watts for a nice intimate dinner. You're robbing the light bulb of power. It's no longer a 100 watt bulb, it's only a 25 watt bulb. If I did that here and I ran at full speed, 100 watts, and lowered it down to a 25 watt bulb, it would not have the strength to pull through that dairy or that heavy sugar water. With my invention, it's not an invention, it's already invented, it's an application. With my application, I am able to cut the motor speed down to anything I want. I can cut it down to 1/4 of what it was running at, but it's still a full speed motor. It still has all the torque or pulling power. That's where the secret is. And it's been out there for 22 years. No one's ever copied it successfully. One company attempted it, but they just couldn't do it. And it's on all our machines except for the very smallest ones. Do we have one here? Yeah, the 200. Right there. The 200 at the end. Oh, right there doesn't have it. There's no room to put it in. Did you try it? No? You need help?
No.
Did they get it?
We're all
a lot of it. Okay. All right, so still too much mint. Good.
Chocolate chips are good.
Yeah. So what do you think of the concept, though, of being able to do this? And the color, I would ease up on the color a little, too, because it does look so artificial. But there's nothing more fun using Green Mountain flavors to have that mother with the stroller come in, and there's a cherry Italian ice that was made with his all-natural colors. It's not red dye 40. And the child wants it, and the mother said, no, you can't have that. That's red dye 40. Oh, no, ma'am, that's made from beet juice, concentrated beet juice. And the eyes just go, wow, if they'll spend that much time just on a dye to make it all natural, imagine what the rest of this store sells. It just...
Or Jell-O. They'll make Jell-O.
Then they'll make Jell-O for the poor child, yes. Oh, my blessed mother, she couldn't cook. She made Jell-O that didn't shake. I mean, it was there, and it was like concrete. It would not shake. That's a different take.
I have a question.
Yes.
The machines, do you have to take those completely apart to clean them, or can you just sanitize them with the water that just...
At night, on this model, I take the door off, and I wash it in the sink with soapy water and let it air dry on the table. On the dasher, I put... this has a safety just for me, so it doesn't go flying apart. For this one, I just lift that off, and wash the individual parts. They can all go in the dishwasher, and then the health department wants you to air dry them on the table. And that's it. It's very simple. Yes?
Those blades, do they wear or over time or?
They do. All blades wear, and all other machines wear very quickly. These last 5 to 6 years with no maintenance whatsoever. And the springs, we try to tell you to change them once a year because they're what's pushing it out. Interestingly, or at least interesting to me, because up in New York, the laws are you can't own a firearm unless you're a diamond dealer or the mayor. Down here in Florida, it's a wonderful sport. We go to the shooting range, have a lot of fun with firearms. A firearm is like a pistol. It's got what they call a clip of bullets, and it's spring-loaded. You put it in the gun. If you leave it in that, it's the same thing's going to happen in your store if you're seasonal. If you leave this in here, if I leave those bullets in the clip for 6 months, it's actually wearing out the springs because they're tensioning. Unless it's a Sig Sauer, then forget about it. You don't have to worry. But they say to take it apart at night and just let it air dry. And then if you are seasonal, just take this apart, put it into a Rubbermaid bucket and let it sit on top of the machine until next spring. So there's almost no maintenance on this machine whatsoever. You don't have to change blades. Your soft ice cream machine takes about 40 minutes to clean every time you do it, and it's got about 40 parts. They're a pain.
My blades are lucky to last a couple of weeks.
Really?
Yeah, the ones, especially the recent ones we got, were junk.
Wow.
Do you sell soft serve machines or just?
No, I don't sell soft serve machines. I decided when I was in college, since I was in college in Florida, I was looking for any way to stay in Florida as long as I could, so I went and got a master's degree in the buying and selling of currency, arbitrage. I really use that making ice cream. But I lost my train of thought. What was your question?
I wondered if you made soft serve.
Yeah, no, I was told in business school, we had to write a thesis, and I was told that with my skills in refrigeration and sheet metal, I should diversify. At that time, we actually had cigarette machines in firehouses and other places. They said, build cigarette machines, build a DeLorean car, you have the skill. And I decided, no, I'm going to stick to one item, just like we used to say thermos, now it would be Yeti. It's a brand name like Kleenex. We want to be and achieve becoming the brand name of batch freezers. So that's all we do. We stick to that. The hardening cabinet is made in conjunction with a rival company, Capojani, and they have factories over here. Their parent company has factories that specialize in freezers. And so we collaborated on that for a year, and it came out last November, and that's the end result. But that's related to the batch freezer. The soft serve machines, it's a whole different market, and we're not in that. Yes?
Thermos was bought by Yeti?
No, thermos, we used to call it, you'd say, you wouldn't say, I'm going to grab my insulated
cup,
cylinder,
right.
I'm going to go get my thermos.
But
and
they're
now,
still in business, aren't they?
They are, but now everybody says, I'm going to go grab my Yeti.
Oh, okay.
You know, times have changed.
No, not for me.
Not for me either. I know, you still wind your alarm clock at night.
Of course. The baby Ben.
The baby Ben. We're going to take a 10-minute break so everybody can stretch their legs, go to the bathroom. I'm going to ask you not to come up and ask questions because we're social distancing still for a while more. But we'll be back here and save those questions. What happens, and we always get a laugh out of it, we ask any questions and there's just dead silence from the audience. And then we take a break and everybody runs up, hey, I just want to ask you this. You know, everybody else wants to hear your question too. There are no dumb questions. It's an important question.
Oh, there's plenty of dumb questions.
Well, we're not going to get into that.
Okay.
You know, hey, I'm the guy who tried to restart my new car by pushing the radio button instead of the on-off button. You know, give me back my key. All right, let's take a break for a few minutes.
Oh, during the break, you might be, I sell a recipe book, and I have 6 copies there. Steve's going to hold one up. I have 6 copies. That's all I brought with me. And are we on, Mike?
We are now.
Okay. Talking about your book.
Well, I can't tell them how much it cost over the...
No, we can't, but it's a bargain at half the price.
Well...
sorry, twice the price. It would be a bargain at half the price.
Anyway, so that's the book that I ran my first ice cream store on for a year and a half. There's about 25, 23 great recipes in there, and I still use them today.
Can I get a job as Vanna White? Oh no, this would be the world WWF.
Right.
Yeah, walk
right.
around like this. I don't think I meet.
Or you could be Michael Buffer.
I don't think I meet the qualifications. I do recommend this highly. This is your starting point for an ice cream business. It's that simple. We are taking a break, aren't we? But everybody really calls up with the same thing. The only thing I know about making ice cream is I love to eat it. And that's our starting point. That's all you have to do. It's a fun business. It's just a lot of fun. People, if they're in a bad mood when they walk into your store, they're going to walk out very happy. They've got ice cream. Or as Jeff says, everybody in the world either eats ice cream or wants to eat ice cream. I mean, I can't think of any other product that hits that criteria. Not everybody wants a filet mignon. Not everybody wants my thicker than mud coffee.
Or liver and onions.
What's wrong with liver and onions?
Not everybody likes it.
Ooh, okay.
I love liver and onions.
All right, we're taking a break.
Okay. I haven't made before. I made vanilla caramel praline, but this time we're going to make salted caramel praline.
Are we going back to rolling here?
Yes. You mean all that wasn't on?
No, sir, it wasn't.
Oh, I said such great things, too. All right, so this, we're going to make it in a 12 quart, so we're going to add 5 quarts of mix, ice cream mix. And Steve hates that term, but it's unfortunately, it's universally accepted.
I like the term blend, but it sounds better. Mix sounds like a powder. But that is the term. It's like every industry. Computer industry has certain terms they use, bits and bytes and mods, and I don't know what they are either. But we do call this mix. It came out of the cow last night at 4 o'clock, was reblended by the dairy, and delivered to you the next morning.
Now, you know that isn't true.
It's close.
So we'll take 5 quarts of mix and put it in the machine. You gotta love him. 5 quarts of mix, right in. Now I have a habit, and my habit is 2 things. I always have a cloth on the shelf, always, and I always have a bucket under the spout. That's just me. The third thing I have, which in my store, I always have a mat to absorb any spills and better on your feet and stuff like that. But you got to work under trying conditions. So here's 5 quarts of mix. Without spilling a drop. We'll add some vanilla. My rule of thumb on vanilla is 1 ounce per quart. It's not, that's not the procedure in the industry. Most of them use 1 ounce per batch, or 2 ounces per batch. I use 1 ounce per quart. So that would be how many ounces? 5. Good man. Extra credit, huh? 5 ounces of vanilla. And we'll add, we'll take these pralines and we'll give them a quick shot in the Ninja to break them up a little. Just a quick shot.
We're not endorsing blenders, but a Ninja blender, you can get them for about $99. They're very loud, and they work better than any other blender.
When I first opened, I had a 5-quart KitchenAid mixer, and I had a food. What's the What's the food processor?
Cuisinart.
Cuisinart food processor, and now I have neither. I do have 5 of these, and they don't pay me a penny, but it's a great product.
No, but these little razor sharp blades will cut through everything.
Many times. So we'll add, you saw we ground them up a little bit, quick shot, and then we'll add some whole ones for those lucky few people who get whole ones.
Oh, what am I doing?
So we'll add those in here. What do we have in here so far? Mix in vanilla. Now we'll add pralines. And then we're going to add something that I haven't done before, but we decided to make salted caramel praline ice cream. So we'll add some Tyranny salted caramel. How much we add, I don't know yet. It'll be a taste test.
But watch carefully and write it down.
So let's see how much let's see.
Because Jeff is a little of this and a little of that.
Well, that's true, except that when I'm creating flavors for the store, I do write them down as I go along, because you have to know. So let's see what we got here. We'll add about a little more than half a bottle. We'll see what it tastes like. You know where I'm going with this, right?
So that'd be about 14 ounces. 14 ounces.
Well, I think it's actually a little more.
Now it's going up. Yeah, it's all going to end up in there.
You think so?
Probably.
Okay, let's go for
all right.
it. What the hell?
1 bottle of Tyranny syrup. Now
So that makes it
Tyranny.
easy to write it down, right? 1 bottle Tyranny. They're 750 milliliters, just like a liquor bottle.
Now that's on the Emery Thompson 12 quart. So
Right.
your machine, it would be 2 bottles.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Got it.
Is there anything wrong with that?
No.
Okay.
No, sir.
No, sir. All right. Let's see if it's good. Now, by the way, this happened in the last batch. What if it's too strong when we taste it now? What do? Add more mix, of course. But it's not, of course. Now, this ice cream, what we're going to do, for one reason that you don't have to know, I didn't sleep last night, and I was thinking of different things. And have you seen me do the variegate on these videos, how to make the swirls in it? Mike, is this on?
Some people are brand new.
Well, let's try this. We're going to try something else to make, you know, the swirls, like vanilla fudge. Remember you used to get vanilla fudge ice cream? It had swirls of the fudge going in it. And Breyers was particularly good at this. When you opened the half gallon, it was 2 designs right on top, and it permeated the ice cream. Their production plant figured that out. Anyway, so we want this to look pretty and to have a little caramel. After all, it's what flavor is this? Salted caramel praline. So let's put some caramel in the extrusion. Extrusion? Okay.
Whose caramel are you using?
I like Lion's caramel.
Where do you get that?
Restaurant Depot. This is Monarch, because they didn't have Lion's. Monarch. Actually, let's see. It's very hard to screw up caramel.
If you wanted to make it today and you didn't have time to wait for that to come, could you use something like Smucker's in the supermarket?
I use Smucker's all the time.
Then you can buy just exactly what you want.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get the end-all quality from Smucker's. I don't think it's as thick as, I don't know, maybe it is, I don't know.
You say you prefer this over the Smucker's?
Yeah, because Smucker's comes in little jars. I get these in these big cans. It's probably all junk, but my philosophy on ice cream, and I know I'm bucking the trend, a lot of it is going towards all natural, no sugar, lactose-free, dairy-free. I don't buy any of it, and I'm sorry we're on tape, but to me, ice cream is a frozen treat. It's dessert. It's not a necessity in life. It's an affordable luxury. I want it sweet, I want it flavorful, and I want it yummy. So I don't really, at my store, sugar-free, nah. Dairy-free, nah. Lactose-free, nah. All natural, nah. It's ice cream. Now, for the most part, I do use things that we grew up with. I won't use a can of Oreo glop. I'll go buy Oreos. And I'll buy Snickers bars. And you'll see after lunch we're going to have Payday ice cream. You know the Payday candy bars? And I spent all morning unwrapping all these Payday bars and cutting them up, and they're in the freezer, and we're going to do something with that. So that's what I did. As a matter of fact, the cover of the book, where's the book? Somebody
it's
hold
right
it.
here.
It says, and this is the first thing I ever wrote when I started this business. It says, make incredible ice cream without buying jugs, cans, or jars of flavors or colors. Go supermarketing. And that, in fact, is what I did to start this whole thing. I went supermarketing. When I first teamed up with Steve here, and he was gracious enough to invite me to do a guest spot on his show, which was then called Lunch with the President, I got here, and this whole, I can say this, right? This whole thing here was filled with precisely that. Jugs, cans, and jars of flavorings, colorings, additives, all that stuff, right?
Yep.
And then over the years, it's disappeared. And now he goes supermarketing too, and it's a great thing. It's anything you see on the shelves, you can make ice cream out of, for better or for worse.
Even avocado ice cream, which is actually very good.
Anything. And that's the joy of this business. When I teach the class, I teach them there are 3 reasons we get into this business. 3 big reasons. Profit, number 1. I don't have to tell you that. The profit in this is silly. Number 2 is art. We get to play and create things. And that's what we've been doing this morning. Some of it fails, some of it succeeds.
I saw that. I saw that.
And so it's profit, art, and to me, the biggest reason to get into the business. What is it? It's fun. This is a fun business. You're not outside digging holes and tarring roofs, and you're not answering to some boss. You're not on a factory line putting things together monotonously. You're having fun. So it's a great business. You can, I espouse too much. Okay, we'll give it one more test midway through, so that if there is, nice apron, so if there is anything wrong, there won't be an empty cup in the house. And now we have to get ready to do the variegate. Variegate, how would you define that word?
They swirl through the ice cream.
Good way to do it. And we'll use a clear container so that you can see the variegate. This should be fun. I've never done this before. Any questions about this ice cream?
What percentage is the mixture using?
10% butterfat. It's what I prefer. And because of Steve's machine, you can take that 10% butterfat, which is not a high percentage of butterfat, but by reducing the speed, you can make it even thicker, more towards gelato. Even though gelato is 5 to 8% butterfat, you can make your ice cream thicker and creamier if you want it, by slowing down. Think about it. When Grandma used to make ice cream, she would put it all in the thing, rock salt around the outside, and she would do this. And then you would have to do this if you wanted ice cream. And it was a slow process. All Steve did in his genius was take a machine to do this fast. So now the ice cream, instead of 20 minutes and the kids getting all PO'd, this does it for you. And the rock salt has been replaced by cold coils. What's in those coils?
Environmentally friendly propellant.
Okay,
They make
cold
me
stuff.
say that. Cold stuff.
It's getting there. How long should this take? A lot of sugar in it. The more sugar, the longer your ice cream takes to make. That's why when I make adult flavors using alcohol, alcohol is basically sugar, so it takes longer. My adult flavors might take 15, 16, 17 minutes. And if you just took the bladder and put it in the machine and made vanilla ice cream just from the mix, which you could do, it's just vanilla, that would take maybe 8 minutes.
Christi, do you mind spending a second? You just spoke with the people over at Lockhead Vanilla, and they were telling you about freezing temperatures of ice cream and using more vanilla. Remember that, about how
Yeah.
if we use Jeff's method, which I do, versus the way I used to do it?
If I remember correctly, vanilla extract has 7 times the effect on freezing as sugar does, or more than sugar, believe it or not, because vanilla extract can have up to 41% alcohol. That's very high, so you can get pretty wasted on a bottle of vanilla extract. Don't do it, but so always try to tame back your vanilla just a little bit. You don't have to do exactly what Jeff does. He does it. I don't. Steve and I don't. So typically, some people's rule of thumb is 1 ounce per quart of ice cream mix. If I'm doing a CB 350 and that's 3.5 quarts of mix that I use, I just do 2 ounces of vanilla. And that's more than enough. But if you add a lot of vanilla extract, it's going to take a longer time to freeze. As you saw from the mint extract that Steve used, same concept. He put a little too much and it couldn't freeze. So he had to up the sugar and water ratio.
So you can do it if you want to. You just have to expect a slightly longer freeze time.
Yeah, I would assume. And it's because alcohol doesn't freeze, it suspends. So when you go to make it, it's gonna come out a lot thinner. And it's not going to freeze completely solid like you would see when you hand scoop an ice cream. It's gonna be a lot softer in texture. And like this will be, it has a lot of sugar in it, so it's gonna be softer to scoop.
I just learned the other day how to taste ice cream. What they tell you to do is take the ice cream on a spoon and do it this way, because your taste buds are on top of your tongue. And if you do it this way, no taste buds, very few up on the palate. So they tell you when you're tasting ice cream for a taste, like that. I just found that out. Did you know that?
I didn't know that. It made me laugh, though, because who in the audience here remembers Carvel and Tom Carvel? Anybody? Yeah, Tom Carvel had close to 2,000 stores, and he had a gravelly voice, and he had Fudgy the Whale and moon pies and all these other things. And he once told me at a trade show, he said, I have my spies, as he called them. We would call them associates. I have my spies, and we send them into the stores, and I tell them to always taste the vanilla. Because if they're cheating on the vanilla, because it was inexpensive, if they're cheating on the vanilla, you can be damn sure they're cheating on the maple walnut, which costs more. So you could always tell when his spies were coming, besides the fact that they couldn't get through the door, they were so wide in the shoulders. It taught me, if you're going to go into a store, taste someone's vanilla.
And that has what to do with how we taste it?
That has to do with you don't taste the mint chip. And I do subscribe for the most part with Jeff's idea about flavoring, because if I hand you a pale pink ice cream and you say that's delicious, what is it? I just failed as an ice cream maker because you don't know it's red raspberry. So flavoring is the most important thing you can do. If you want to put in 1 ounce to a quart like Jeff does of vanilla, of course he does it. He's using my Lockhead vanilla. And he's not paying for it.
I'm not paying for it.
But
at home I use cheapo vanilla.
Yeah, that's right. But other than that, he's not wrong. And keep in mind, the most important thing. We can vary the air content, we can vary the fat content, but I've yet to see anybody walk out of the store and say, you know what, that was the best fat content I ever ate. I can't wait to come back tomorrow. Or, did you taste that air content? Wow, that's incredible. I'm going to buy some more tomorrow. They eat flavor. That's all they eat is flavor. If it's a great flavor, they don't care how you got there. They just want to know that they want it.
That's precisely what I was talking about. That's why I don't vary from making 100% great ice cream. I don't compromise myself by adding monk fruit instead of sugar or dextrose or any of that. I just don't do it. And if somebody comes in and they want sugar-free ice cream, I say we don't have any, although now we have one flavor. We don't have any, but we certainly have a coffee bar, so you can have a cappuccino. Oh, I don't like caffeine. We have decaf. So between coffee and ice cream, I'm trying to satisfy every single person walking the earth, whatever their tolerance or their allergies or whatever. And I make as much on a coffee as I do on an ice cream. Okay, we are rocking and rolling here. Now I'm going to try this. If it doesn't work, oh well. I'm going to try to pour this in as the ice cream's coming out, but that won't be the end all. That's just the beginning. Then we're going to do a little trickery and get it into the buckets. Pretty soon now. Another 30 seconds. How can it be so precise? Now it would help if you had a spout, you know, but I just squeezed it, so we'll make do.
You know what I just thought of?
Tell me.
You can eat mint chip before you go on a date, and you won't have bad breath the rest of the night.
There you go.
I can still feel the freshiness.
You're good for 10 years.
Yeah.
Okay, you think we're ready?
Yep.
All right, we'll give this a shot.
Oops.
Turn sideways so the camera can see if you can. That's too
okay.
hard.
It's a little hard.
We only have
Okay,
both cameras
ready?
going that way.
I'm going to have it come out at a slow speed.
I can also slow the speed down.
No, I'm okay. I'm good.
Right, Mike? Since his back is to you, what he's doing is he's slowly pouring it into the stream of ice cream. He hasn't opened up the stream all the way. He's got to open up about a quarter of the way just to slow the
Let's
process.
just see if it's going to work. Hang on, I got. Okay, let's see if this is going to work. What we're going to do with this is squoze it and see if we get any of the swirls in it. We are, aren't we?
You sure are. It's beautiful. That's better than the old method.
I don't know. I may like the old method still.
Can you hold the tub up so they can see through it? That's beautiful.
Try it on a little more. The old method was to do this and then give it a fold. And then squeeze it. I guess it's pretty similar. And let's take the rest of it.
There is one other method of doing it, and that is to take a pastry bag and fill it with the, well, I'm going to it's got a good story though.
Okay.
I'm going to fill the pastry bag with the butterscotch, and I'm going to hold it up against the machine. I'm going to squeeze in my ribbon. The problem is trying to get your hand in there. Our executive chef in the audience will like this. Trying to get your hand into that bag and clean it, it's a horrible mess. And I did it that way for 15 years, and one day an executive chef looked at me, and he's holding the bag up, and the tip is down here, and he looks at me like I'm from the moon. He grabs the tip, turns it upside down, and rolls it up his sleeve, and puts it under the sink to wash it off. And I'm going, why didn't I do that? Yeah, he's laughing because this is, I mean, it's so simple. I'm in there going like this. So, but a pastry bag does work.
All right, for the
all went
last...
silent.
What?
All went silent.
Yes. You're not used to that?
Jeff, scooping purposes, I notice a difference. You should stick to your old way.
Old way?
Yeah.
That's what we're doing here, the old way.
Why is that, Christy?
Because I'm getting too many big blobs of, what is that, caramel?
As Jerry Seinfeld
Caramel.
would say, not that that's a bad thing. Remember that?
Yes. Everything.
Cracked me up. So this will be the...
Where you just pour it into the tub of mix,
Thank you.
add your butterscotch, and then stir it, and then swirl it out.
Caramel.
Caramel.
See, that's interesting. You grew up saying caramel?
Yeah.
I grew up saying caramel.
Oh, okay.
Kraft caramels. Can you taste this?
No.
Too much?
Yeah. Well, I don't want to lose my svelte figure.
Well, 1 teaspoon ain't going to do
It
anything.
took a long time to get it off. The older you get, the harder it is. It's terrible.
I'm cheating. I'm 19 pounds down, and I'm here, you know.
Oh, these don't have tops, do they? The clear ones.
Let's taste, shall we?
Any changes you would make to Jeff's caramel? Praline caramel?
Hush, good Jeff.
Yeah, it's good?
Yes.
Okay.
Question.
Jeff, would it change the recipe if you had the time and you could put the caramel in your refrigerator and really cool it, make it cold, as far as making the swirl?
I have no idea.
Try it. It won't come out of the
It'd
jar.
be harder to.
Yeah, it just won't come out of the jar. It's got to be room temperature, or most people even heat it in a double boiler to get it to flow easier. There's even companies, the people who put flavors in cans, which we're not using, who add
have one?
ingredients to it, chemicals, to make it flow even faster. We're going to do questions answered.
Okay, chairs are right outside the door.
All right.
Let me get this packed.
All right, I'll bring in the chairs.
And
I hope you have a lot of questions. Otherwise, we're going to sit here and just tell war stories. But we do a segment called Questions Answered here.
Don't be shy.
Now this,
do you have a lid for this?
we do the
So
questions
what?
answered once a week for 10 minutes,
just go
Christi
read
and I. But it started here with first the two of us, and then now Christi, the three of us, taking your questions.
I think it's pretty good.
Still clean, so. He wasn't looking.
What about putting
You
more
marked it any?
Yes.
pralines in?
What?
What about putting more pralines in? I'm not getting a crunch in each bite. And would that screw it up in some other way if you added more?
It's all interpretation.
Yeah.
Machinery-wise, you certainly can. You know, when you become a CEO, you get to do this too.
Salted caramel.
When it's your business, you do everything. All right, I gotta try to taste.
I hear a lot of this.
Yeah, that's good. That means everybody is liking that caramel. Oh, it's all gone. Saved by the bell.
I got some here.
I'm good.
Yeah, try it.
I'm good.
I'll try it.
Oh, all right. All these ice creams end up in my freezer at home. That's the problem. There's a nice little bit. I like the consistency. Oh, that's too good. Oh.
I've got a question for you. Regarding your mix,
I'll meet you out in the parking lot. I'll sneak a tub out to us.
Sure.
of the fat?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And mine also sells a chocolate mix.
Okay.
That is good. Christi, did we lose you? Oh, you're back. Hi. Let me grab you by the neck and escort you out. Come on, sweetie. I know, she wants some Italian ice. Christi left the door open. I'm innocent. We need you back for the questions answered, and then we're going to serve lunch.
So it's pretty good to
incredibly
taste after what we had, the ices, cream ice cream. That's why
All right.
ice cream is king.
You
This
can pick any
was
seat
great.
you want.
And compared to the other stuff, it was more than great.
I like this chair.
Nothing. No, you don't. Sorry.
What I miss?
I don't know. She found something funny.
Something sage and witty that Jeff said. Okay, gee, we need questions.
This is a great little armrest here.
Comfortable. It's nice to sit down finally. Yes, our first question.
You said you had recently started to experiment with ice cream flavors on the Italian ices, or is that something you've been doing for a while now?
Oh, a very long time.
Okay, so
all my life.
Okay, which one? Could you choose one that was the biggest surprise at how good it was, and then one that just absolutely does not work at all?
Yes, I can. Mango was the biggest surprise, and quite frankly, I Rice Company, letter I and then Rice, R-I-C-E, and Rod Oranger is the best mango I've ever had. The problem with mangoes over other fruits is they're scarce. They seem to only last a few days, and there's about 6 or 8 varieties of them. So you can't consistently have the same ice. And you know, I hate to compare us to a fast food place, but like McDonald's. But when you go into McDonald's, you know what you're getting. It may not be your quality hamburger, but whether you're in Istanbul or Saigon or San Diego, it's going to be the same product. And so the problem I had with the mango, making it myself, was it was incredibly inconsistent. And you can't have people saying, "Oh, that restaurant was great last month. I don't know what went wrong this month. They must have cut their costs," which is everybody's fear to have said about them, because we are all facing higher costs. That was the best. The worst, of course, is world famous, and I'll just touch quickly. It was my Sharknado Italian ice. And there's a shark up behind you, a blow-up shark. I had one of my employees, as I was talking about Sharknado, that was when all the movies were coming out, Sharknado 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, Sharknado New York. He threw that shark into the audience, and everybody screamed, and it got the effect I wanted. I made a blood red cherry Italian ice, because sharks bite, and then you got blood. And I looked at the shark. It was around Halloween.
And here comes the important part.
Yeah. Sharks have thousands of little tiny pointed teeth. And I looked at them, and we were nearing Halloween. I thought, they look just like, what do they call it?
Corn.
Candy corn. This will be great. I'll make this blood red Italian ice with candy corn in it. We made it. It was delicious. Everybody loved it, fresh out of the machine. I said, this is going to take over the world. You can have the recipe for free, no residuals, no nothing, just have at it. 2 weeks later, the phone calls come in. Hi, this is the law firm of Dewey, Cheatham, and Howe, and we have a client who is planning to sue you for 3 broken teeth from freezing the Italian ice, the Sharknado Italian ice, and those little candy corn turned into rocks. And you couldn't bite through them, you couldn't do anything. We took that one down real fast. So that was my worst ice. Acai is surprisingly good. You can take some flavors. You can form, Charlie's House of Italian Ice, and you can also do Charles's Gourmet Sorbet under a different label, and it's the same stuff. But lemon, cherry, grape, orange, chocolate, mango, Italian ice, kiwi, mango, papaya, apricot, sorbets. And the only difference is the price you can get for them. One you put in a little squeeze cup and you eat it from the bottom. The other one you put into a champagne glass and serve it for dessert at a restaurant. It's great. Speaking of restaurants, I've been promoting pints for a very long time because they saved the industry during the COVID years. Businesses were closed, but we could run out pints to people. Having pints in your store where you've got either a display freezer or just a simple Sears chest freezer and a sign that says take out pints. We don't hand pack them, we fill them at the Emery Thompson, put the lid on them, turn them upside down in the freezer so when they open it, it's perfectly full, and they're frozen to 10 below at least. You couldn't scoop it with a hammer and chisel. I run into your store because I know you sell pints, and on the way home I want to grab a mint chip for myself. I've got the girls, the golden retrievers in the back. It's Florida, the engine's running. I can't go into the public supermarket and leave the dogs in the car, but I can run into your store, put 2 pints up on the counter, the server comes over, says, you want a receipt? No. You want a bag? No. Slide your card. And I'm out in 40 seconds. Took the same idea, and you'll always buy 2, because I bought my mint chip, but I better bring home coconut for Paula, or, hey, Paula, look what I bought for myself. And she's thinking, where's mine? So it's $7, $8, $9 a pint. We don't care what the cost is. We're going to just charge it because people want it. It's like Jeff says, it's a treat. It's a reward. And I'm always going to buy 2. I have to buy one for my spouse, so I just spent $18 and didn't even blink. So I'm now thinking the way Paul and I go out to restaurants, and we go not to name brand places, we go to little holes in the wall with 25, 30 seats, and the food changes every couple of nights. They're fantastic. And at the end of the menu, we never take a dessert home because we know we have ice cream at home, but most people don't take it. They spent not their money, they're not worried about the money, they're worried about, I feel full and I got to cut back. I don't need to eat dessert, I'm really blowing my diet just being here. 2 hours later, they're going to be eating ice cream. But if the server at that time is saying, I'll go get your bill. Oh, by the way, on the back of the list of desserts, chocolatey desserts, if you turn it over, here are some pints that we sell for take-home. We have this wonderful lavender chocolate chip ice cream. We have this, what was yours? The orange?
Orange cranberry.
Orange cranberry sorbet, fantastic. And would you like us to, you want to pick a couple of flavors and we'll just put it on your tab? Sure, I've already spent $80. What do I care about putting on another $18 of ice cream? Because I know full well in 2 hours I'm going to be hungry. And so now I've got to take out frozen dessert from the restaurant. The restaurateur has upped his menu by $18. The waitress, host or hostess, gets a larger tip because the dollar value went up. Everybody wins. And it's a great addition to your business. Other questions?
So,
yes, sir.
So in looking into going into business, one of the problems I've run into is just supply issues, and even something as simple as getting the mix delivered. We live out in the middle of the country.
Where?
In Georgia.
Where?
Eatonton, Greensboro area.
Tell me in relation to Atlanta, south?
Yes.
No problem.
I've found places that can get mixed, but if you're thinking of, is it Greenwood?
Yeah, that's
they don't
fine.
deliver out to us.
Okay.
Even dairy mix is going up there now.
Yeah, but my question is if we can't find one, is there a machine that we can make our own mixes with?
Oh, gosh.
Yes,
that you would
there is.
recommend?
There is. It can be, it's a simple machine. It can be a logistical nightmare because you might have the federal government, looking over your shoulder. But yeah, it's called Micro Dairy Designs. Okay. And Micro Dairy Designs, I believe they're in either Maryland or Delaware. You can always call me and I'll get you the phone number. The president is Frank Kipp, K-I-P-E. And Micro Dairy Designs makes pasteurizers down to as small as matching up with the CB350 countertop and large enough to handle the 24 quart. So yeah, you can do it. Since your background, unlike the rest of us, is chef, you're more likely to be able to get away with making your own mix than the average person, because it's inherent in your training that they know to trust you. You may have used the French pot method in a restaurant where you're boiling it. They know that you know what you're doing. The rest of us are having enough trouble dealing with just sanitizing the machine. So it's all a way of how the local inspector is going to look at it, and it varies. But that pasteurizer will definitely do the trick for you. It's all made in the USA, comes in different sizes. I know I priced one out for the CB350 that was about $6,000 or $7,000. So it's affordable. The biggest problem you're going to have to be concerned about, and you'll have better resources than me, is where are you going to get 10 gallons of heavy cream? Because you're going to need the cream. But of course, you can call US Foods or Cisco and have it delivered.
That is an enormous
And you don't have to,
yeah, probably big price.
and you don't have to make your own mix for it to be considered homemade. I get that question a lot. And they think, well, it's not homemade if I'm not making the mix. And that's not true. And I always say, well, when you bake a cake from scratch, do you go grind and mill your own flour?
No.
Or do you go buy it from the store? You still made the cake from scratch, you just bought the flour.
And if you notice, all the ice cream stores in your neighborhood say homemade, and they're not. They're not. But they're allowed to, because nobody pushes the point. You could push the point, but then they're going to get all the publicity and the accolades, and you won't. So you'll be the bad guy. I have one a half a block from me, been in Daytona Beach for 30 years. It's an iconic place, tremendous looking building, and it's just 1/2 block from me. And their sign, biggest night, homemade ice cream. But it isn't.
With the little Hershey's sign under it?
No, they use another place, but they buy ice cream, and they put homemade.
So you advertise all ice cream made on the premises.
That's what we have in our store.
Yeah,
All ice cream's
can't do
made
that.
here. And that's good. And that's on social media too.
You know, laws vary so much that my first customer that I had back in the 20s, not in the 1920s, when I was 20. Back in the 1920s, whatever. Up in Connecticut, he put homemade on the business, and the state made him take it down. They said, unless you live in the building, you can't call it homemade. That is, thank you very much. That's government, and they are a blue state.
So most places he was talking about Georgia, and I did look. I'm looking for Dallas, so I was looking for Dallas, and it was kind of hard for me.
Texas
just
has
do
a
this.
huge list of
Just
dairy
do
suppliers.
this. Google dairies, comma, with your zip code.
I looked at one of your videos,
Or-
and I did that too.
That's all you got to do.
Or you can call me or send me an email, and I have a list of dairies for each state. Texas has a crazy amount of dairies. Texas is one of the biggest states.
Of course, cows all over the place.
Christi at emerythompson.com.
And you spell Christi, Christ with an I.
Yeah.
CHRISTI.
Not Chris, not Chrissy, that
Christine.
girl, Christine.
Cookie, I've gotten Cookie. How you doing, Cookie? What great.
That's like, how you doing, Cookie?
Yeah, well,
thanks.
you know, the waitress over at the diner calls me Hun.
It's the weight loss.
Yes, I know.
They didn't call you Hun a month ago.
They didn't come here to listen to my weight loss. How about some questions? Anybody?
You guys are awfully quiet.
Yeah.
I think it's probably the quietest class we've ever had.
Well, the ice cream was good.
I can substitute
Yeah.
word for quiet there.
Plugs there on the CB350, is it a 50 amp plug or?
Whoa.
No, it's a 220 volt. So it's not, that machine's not going to plug in like a toaster. It needs a line like your clothes dryer or central air or an electric oven. But it's 20 amp, which is really very small.
Corby, if we sell an ice cream for $6 in our store, how much profit are we making on that customer?
Ridiculous amount.
You got a number? We did it.
$5.50?
Yeah, it's silly. Now that's not triple net. That's single profit on that. Doesn't include the cup, the spoon, the napkin, the smile. It doesn't include the rent, doesn't include your insurance, doesn't include your signage, doesn't include your employees, doesn't include your legal fees. It includes nothing but what it costs to pour in the machine and what it costs to come out and hand it to the customer. But if you want to go triple net on a serving that's $6, you're way above $3.50. There is nothing in the world like this.
Or the only person who goes triple net or takes into account everything except for the air in the room is your accountant. And you end up paying less taxes.
What I do is, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
What I do is, I want to know, to me, the key number is what day of the month are you paid off? And for most businesses, they're looking at 3 weeks. And then that's everything. That's all their costs. Maybe 18 days, something like that, 20 days. And then the rest of the month is pure in-the-pocket profit. In this business, once you get rolling, and I mean 4 months, 6 months, you'll be working on 10 days, 11 days payoff for your whole month. So that means you've got almost 3 weeks. Every customer that walks in that hands you $6, that $6 goes right to your pocket. And that's a phenomenal business. Don't think this is like selling tires or consulting for a computer company. This is insane money. It's ridiculous money. And the best part of it is you're going to have fun making it. This is a blast. When you walk around your store, you're going to hear this. There's the owner. That guy's the owner. He's the owner. That's a big ego thing too. You feel good. And you're in a community, you're in your neighborhood, you're making money, you got a business for your kids, you got a business for your spouse, your grandparents can work part-time doing the register, if you trust them. You got a business that'll go on and on and on. And it's ice cream. And I recommend you sell it at $5 a cup, tax included.
How many ounces?
12 ounces.
12 ounces
that's
for
a
$5?
We're $4 for 4 ounces.
Yeah.
I understand.
That's
I understand.
Holy smokes.
$5 a cup, 2 or 3 scoops in there. We put a pretzel in just because we're from New York. Put a pretzel in and a spoon, and off it goes. $5, taxes included. And why is tax included? 2 reasons. First of all, should we talk about
Yeah, sure.
Okay. First of all, taking a $5 bill out of your pocket is easy. And if you're with your husband or your wife, taking a 10 out is easy. There's the 10, adios. And they walk out the door. If it's $5, now we have one of those credit, what do they call them?
Square.
A square. We have a square, and if you use the square, it adds tax to it. And that's fair because we're paying a vigorish on the square charge, 2.5%. So they pay tax that way. But the money in your pocket, Joe and Diane are coming into your store, and they're going to realize, wow, this is a piece of cake. $10, I get to have great ice cream, the best ice cream. I get to sit down, listen to some music, talk to some other people. It's a happening for $10. And they can sit there 4 hours if they want. We have games, there. We have Scrabble sets. We have, stuff if they want. Checkers are on every table. So they can hang out. Music is always playing. And it's easy to drop a $10 bill. Once you charge tax, look at what happens. Here it's 7%. So 7 times, that's 35 cents more. So now instead of a $10 bill, he's got to give you a $20 bill because nobody carries change. Nobody carries singles. So he's going to give you a 20. You're going to give him the change, of course. But the next time his wife says, hey, let's go over to blah, blah for some ice cream, right away, subliminally in his mind, he sees a $20 bill. Mm-hmm. And that's not helping you. But a $10 bill is fine. Don't think you're losing money, you're wasting money, you're not grabbing all you can. There's profit is silly in this. It's silly. How many customers are you going to see in a day? Right now we're at about 250. When I had my other store, we were open 6 to 10 p.m., 4 hours. 4 hours, 6 days a week, that's it. And we saw 250 to 350 customers a night. But if you have a store that's open 1 to 10, which is your normal hours in an ice cream store, 1 o'clock to 10 o'clock, and you'll in the beginning you'll see 50 people. You'll make money on 50 people, but in a month you'll see 75, you'll see 100, And then in 3 months or 4 months, because don't forget, you're selling the world's best ice cream. Nobody's selling what you have. They can't get it anywhere else. A half a block from me is a 25-year-old iconic store selling ice cream. Everybody knows. Chamber of Commerce has it on their maps. But they come to me because this is the best ice cream in the world. Note, this is up to you now. Forget everything from now on. No toppings, no mixing flavors, no samples.
The lady over here, you had a question, Chris?
Oh, it was me. I've been obsessed with this, but it gets back to the dairy mix. And because, I've done a lot of, playing around in my kitchen with my little 1-quart Cuisinart, looking at flavors and playing with the milk mixture, etc. And of course I'm using, cream and milk and sugar, and I'm making it all myself. And if you get really, really fresh milk, there is a difference in the taste of that ice cream versus using a mix. And because I've played with both, and it gets back to, but I've struggled because I'm trying to start. How do I figure out whether I can mix the milk and cream? Because there's all kinds of state regulations and stuff like that, or whether I have to go to the mix that you buy from the dairy, the stuff that's pre-mixed. I think even though there's a difference, I think I've gravitated to the time difference between the two by the mix, but there is a taste difference. And so, what do y'all know? What are do the laws just?
Yeah, it's very simple. It's federal. You can't.
Every state.
It's federal law.
Yeah.
It's federal law that when you sell at retail, it's a matter of how much they're going to look the other way. We have new cottage laws coming out where they'll let you make apple pies and sell a certain amount of them out of your kitchen until they step on you. But once you open a retail store, you're under the state as far as cleanliness and all. But it's a federal law that anything. And it goes back to 1929 when they wanted to take over. It was the first government takeover, and I'm not sounding like a conspiracy theorist. It was the first time they took over an industry. The milk prices during the Depression were so low. You can see these old videos, they weren't there then, where it's a Model A Ford, and the guy's got a 5-gallon pail, 10-gallon pail, and he's dumping the milk on the side of the road. I didn't understand what it meant. I asked my father. And he said the cow produced the milk, but the driver couldn't afford the gasoline to bring it to town. They had to throw the milk away. Price controls came in on milk, bottom price control. And then it went up and up. They control the dairy industry. They'll look the other way for the executive chef because he is professionally trained, she's professionally trained, and they're working in a tight kitchen. They're only selling to their own clientele. But when you open up to the public, you're open to the federal government laws. And they may not find you for 10 years, they may not find you for 10 months, but they'll say, if you want to keep doing what you're doing, you have to take this makes no sense, already pasteurized milk, already pasteurized cream, powdered skim milk, and you have to put it together and repasteurize it. There's no reason on earth to do it. No other country I know of makes you do it, but the United States does. So you can't do it. You can't make Aunt Josie's banana nut bread and sell it in Publix.
And then there's the other side of the coin. In everything anybody works at, there are experts in the field. Mm-hmm. Now, we can get rid of all those people. We can grow rubber trees and make our own tires for our cars. That's an extreme example. But we don't do it because we leave that to the experts. To me, the joy of making ice cream is making ice cream. It's not the scientific end of the spectrum, concerning myself with the properties of milk and butter fat. I buy the stuff from the pros. Right. They're good at it. They do it. They deliver every Thursday. It's easy to use. They're in bladders already. It's easy to handle. It's an industry. It's a whole industry supplying ice cream makers with a dairy mix. So I leave it to them.
There are Holsteins, Jerseys, Guernseys. There's all these different kind of cows. They all have different fat output. And it varies between winter and summer. This is more knowledge than I can hold or need to know because my McDonald's theory goes right out the window. Where is your consistency? In Florida, years ago, we had a little tiny producer of orange juice. It was called Donald Duck. And oranges start in November and go all the way till March. In November, they're awful on the tree. They're really bitter. In February, they're fantastic. Minute Maid will mix November, December, January, February, March. Donald Duck was so small, they sold what they had in November. It was awful. It got a little better in December. We all held out till February and then went out and bought 10, 15 cans of frozen Donald Duck because it was pure orange juice at that time. Same thing with the cows. It varies. And the kiss of death for any food business is, oh, you know, it used to be so much better before they opened up that second location, you know, which is crazy. They brought in another ice cream maker and it's just not the same. If you kill consistency, they'll know it and it'll kill your business. That's the only rule. And like Christi said before, if you were a baker, you wouldn't own a wheat mill out back, a wheat field, and then you wouldn't have a grist mill to grind it to make your own flour. You'd go to King Arthur or one of the other reputable brands of flour and say, I want the best flour you got. That's my starting point. And from there, me as the consumer, I'm not buying flour. I'm buying a lemon chiffon cake, pie, with a nice crust. It's the creativity is what Jeff does in playing with the flavors. It's not in the raw base of it, of the dairy.
And it's like Steve said before, nobody's ever going to leave your store saying that was the best butterfat content I ever had.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're not going to say that was the best 12% whatever. It's just, how was the ice cream? That's all.
And I would bet money that the ice cream that the mix that you're putting together in your home, if you had it analyzed, I'll bet it's up around 22, 24% butterfat. And people cannot eat that in quantity. It's too high. If you get above 16, it's inedible. I dealt with the chairman of the board at Godiva one time, and Godiva makes great chocolate. They wanted to make a 22% butterfat chocolate, and they went to Penn State. I sent them down to Penn State to get the formulation. It was put together for them. We ran it in the Bronx factory, and within an hour, everybody was sick with Montezuma's Revenge, and it killed the stray cat. The fat content was just too high. You don't know what your fat content is, but I'll bet anything, if you're pouring that cream, you're way above norms that people can take. You know, there's whiskey and then there's grain alcohol. Whiskey tastes great, grain alcohol, forget about it. It's just to get you drunk.
So now, in starting out, right, we're playing on the recipes. How do we know what butterfat content, a percentage to use? You know, I mean, so now that we buy these different blends and try them, I mean, what's the recommended?
Well, that's a good question. Most dairies that supply you with the mix will offer you a choice of 10%, 12%, and maybe 14%, maybe 16 also. But I would say, well, what I did, I started at 10 because that was, you said that's the minimum for calling it ice cream.
Yep.
I started with 10 knowing that I had an Emery Thompson that I could regulate the speeds. So I wasn't that concerned with getting higher butterfat. Anyway, the crux of this story is I was using 10, loving it. My ice cream was great, building a great reputation. And then one week, the delivery guy said, we didn't have 10, so I brought you 12. This is a true story. I made a batch with the 12, and I didn't like it. I immediately tasted it, and it was too gummy, and I spilled it out. And I didn't have ice cream mix for a week. But that's just me. Most people will make 12. 12 is fine. Probably not a great chasm between 10 and 12, right?
No, and I have 3 rules that I use. If I was back up in New York, I have several dairies to choose from, but I had Hortzman Mix and Cream back then, and I had Panza and Sons. And so I get both of their 14s in, equal ones, and I do a taste test, a blind taste test. I make vanilla ice cream without the vanilla, sweet cream ice cream. And I taste it, and I decide between these 2 companies, which one do I like? That's the first criteria. What do I like? And then the second criteria is the price. Well, maybe the Panza is 25 cents a gallon more than the Hortzman Mix and Cream, but I like it so much, I'll go with it. And then the third one, surprisingly, is do you like the people who are selling it to you? Because they're going to get about 30 or 40,000, maybe more a year from you. And do you like them? Vito Panza, if we were having a bad winter and sales weren't good because it was freezing rain, we didn't get snow, we got freezing rain, and nobody wants to go out. Vito would say to the customer, I know you're having a bad January, so what we'll do is pay half your bill and we'll double up your bill in July and August and you can make it up then. The other company would send Bruno out to break your kneecaps and demand the payment right away. Well, who do I want to work with? Someone who says, we'll take care of you, or the other one says, we're going to break your kneecaps for not paying the bill. It's an easy choice. You could also bring in a couple of different fat contents. You could bring in a 10 and a 12, and I swear I couldn't tell the difference. But if it makes you feel better, bring them in, do the blind taste test. And don't ask your friends. They love everything you do. Everything you do is, oh, Steve, I love it. It's great. That's the first month. The second month, it's, Steve, it's wonderful, but I think you need to add a little more vanilla. And the third month of getting free ice cream, it's, Steve, can't you make anything other than vanilla? We're sick of it. That's when you start getting the real answer. So don't ask your friends, ask your own taste buds. You sell what's good to you, but price, taste, and do you like the people? That's my criteria. And call us. Christi's got a list of all the dairies we know. It's not everybody, but it's a real good starting point.
In the United States, in the lower 48, you can get mix.
Yep.
So how many different flavors do you carry, and how many of those are consistent versus coming up with something new that you would serve the customer?
Oh, that's a good question.
Did you make my pistachio?
No. I have about 25 flavors at all times. And I would say that it's crazy, but I would say 20 of them are must-haves. Probably all 25 are must-haves. We used to have 40. And then, the guys working there, they were working too hard because you work harder with more flavors. You got to keep making ice cream more often. And I told him, take some off the board. I mean, he had stuff, for kids. He had special ice cream, cereal and bubble gum and cotton candy. And I said, get rid of them. And he, well, what are the kids going to do? I said, kids, ice cream store, hello, So he started paring them down. And just yesterday, I noticed, yesterday, I noticed that there are fewer flavors on the wall. Because, like Steve always says, somebody comes in, no mint chocolate chip? No, I'm sorry, we don't have it this week. We'll bring it back maybe next week. Oh, do they turn around and walk out? No. They'll have the maple walnut. That's all. And they'll love it because it's the best maple walnut in the world.
Christi, what do you say for flavors? How many?
I think you should stick with 20 or less, to be honest. I think 22 or 24 would be good because that's what goes into a dipping cabinet. I know you don't use those, you use chest freezers, that's different. But those that do use a dipping cabinet, you have your even numbers that you can use.
We've certainly gone down. There's no more Baskin-Robbins 31 that we're doing because it just gets too confusing. And as I said earlier in the day, I contend that everybody knows exactly what flavor they're going to buy when they first walk in. Everybody's got their favorite. It's only the kids running around. And as Jeff says, don't ever give samples because one person will say, well, would you like to try this? And then you just slow down the line. Well, the next person in line, me, heard that. Well, hey, I want to try that one too. And now you've really slowed down the line. I personally like somewhere around 12 to 16 flavors because those are the sizes of dipping cabinets. And then put in a flavor of the week. It's great for social media. I mean, our whole business has changed because of what Christi did here over the last 4 years of getting us involved in the 22nd century, 21st century, whatever this is, and using social media.
But being stuck in 1920.
We were. And it really is a great way to advertise for free. It's incredible. And so if you put up a flavor of the week, it's fantastic.
Yeah. And also, out of your flavors, again, going against what you say, I do truly feel that you should have a dairy-free option, at least 2 dairy-free options. There's a lot of people out there that have, a little boy or a little girl or even them own self that can't have dairy.
Oh, I need a tissue.
I know, poor thing. But Meadowvale makes a fantastic dairy-free mix. I don't know if anybody talked about that yet. There's Mommy's Gelato, which is a powder, and then there is...
Also excellent.
It is. It's very good. I like the Outrageous. That's my favorite. And then Meadowvale has one that comes in a traditional bladder that looks just like that. My husband actually prefers that over normal dairy. It's quite delicious. And the Outrageous has a fantastic shelf life. It can be shelf stable. It can ship anywhere, so you don't have to worry about any of that. It's very cost effective. Meadowvale is a little more on the higher side due to being a bladder. But you have many options to offer dairy-free, so definitely do it.
And I disagree with both of them. Jeff says absolutely no. Christi's saying it's because of my condition, and I don't care about your condition.
Some people are lactose intolerant.
I don't care. No. I really don't. I'm selling them a treat, like Jeff says. I do it because the age group of 21 to 39, which we call the millennials, or call it anything you want, literally call up here and say, I don't like cows. I don't like dairy. I don't like that they're farting, putting methane gas, excuse my language, into the air. I think it's outrageous that they're milking this poor cow, pulling on its udders every day at 4:30 in the afternoon. And me being a New Yorker says, hey lady, you try going for 8 hours without going pee and see how you feel. Trust me, thank you for laughing. It goes nowhere with them. But that is their feeling. And they're not buying it because of lactose intolerant. They buy it because they like the taste of it, and they like the idea that it's dairy free. And there's 85 million of them. There's 72 million of Jeff and I. I'm not turning away an 85 million audience. Times change. My favorite book of How to Sell, which I have yet to read. The only thing good about it is what I like about the title of the book is the title. What got you here won't get you there. So what got us here up to 1999 won't get us there in 2022. And I feel that 2 flavors. One guy called up and he said, Steve, that's the last time I talked to you. You're absolutely wrong. I said, why? The dairy-free didn't sell? He goes, no, it was such a big demand I should have put 4 flavors in. But would I do a whole store of dairy-free? I said, nobody in their right mind's ever going to do this. And then I forgot there's a place called San Francisco. And so, of course, it did. But I would do 2 flavors, and I would rotate them out because I want that audience. And as I said before, Jeff's in my age group, eating high-fat Haagen-Dazs gets a little tough on the gut as you get older, and as you try this dairy-free and you find it's highly digestible. I'm not going to go into detail, but when you get to be as old as Jeff, you'll figure it out.
There was a place in New York that sold goat milk ice cream.
Goat milk. Yeah, we do
She's not really in business, but it was pretty good.
We do some of those. I've done goat, sheep. We also did buffalo. Buffalo is a higher fat content than a cow is. I just don't know how you milk them. It's got to be very carefully.
When you do the dairy-free, does the dipping temperature in the cabinet have to be different than your other ice creams, like with Italian ices?
In a normal ice cream cabinet set at 6 degrees, it will harden up a bit. So what I do is if the desk in front of you is your dipping cabinet and it's wrapped in coils of refrigeration, it may be set at 6 degrees, but the 4 corners are colder because the refrigeration's going this way and then that way. So that corner is colder. You go into an ice cream parlor and you see the server easily scooping a high sugar content, really almost to the point of soft, and over here scooping one that is really hard. It's because the owner doesn't know to put the high sugar content ones in the 4 corners of the cabinet. Same thing with the dairy-free. Put it in the center of the dipping cabinet, or if you have an Italian ice cabinet, which is even warmer, put it in the 4 corners. So yeah, a little bit warmer, but no problem there. And since they're not eating any added sugar, they're not going to eat a sugar cone you're going to put in a dish. And charge more. Costs at least $1 more to make not per serving, but you'll make a nice extra profit at $1 higher than your ice cream or your ices. Yes?
With the mixes, we're from Texas. How long, or what temperature do you have to store them in to you're gonna keep it for a couple days?
Your
the
mix?
Yes.
refrigerator.
In the refrigerator, okay.
Yeah, they'll be shipped
About
and then
10
you,
days.
and you can freeze them because we freeze our bladders and they freeze solid and they'll last for a long time frozen. And then once you take them out, we just lay them on the counter, or you could put them in the fridge, and about over 4 days it'll thaw out on its own. Just be sure to, I like to laugh because I call it smack, wiggle, and jiggle it. You know, roll the bladder around and make sure there's no frozen chunks in the middle.
Because Texas is like Florida, really hot.
Yeah.
So we're planning on doing Italian ice the first summer.
Great.
First summer.
Wonderful.
So with the Italian ice, how many flavors can you get in an hour? And second to that part is how can I mix them to make a swirl?
The Italian ice takes longer to make because of the high sugar content. So it's on the CB350, it's 13 minutes as opposed to 8 for ice cream. On the bigger machine, it's 18 minutes as opposed to 8 minutes. So we can get 2 big tubs,
You get 6 gallons
2 of
an
those
hour.
big tubs, 2 of the big tubs every half hour.
So it's six gallons out of the 350?
3 gallons, sorry.
Oh, 3, I was gonna
So it
say-
does a gallon and a half per batch.
All right.
And I
then-
think, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No.
And I think you need to buy this.
Oh yeah, the Rainbow Maker.
This will enable you to fill 1 gallon, 1 tub with 3 different colors, flavors of ices, and then as you scoop them, whoa.
You make your lemon, in one side, and then you put it in the freezer. Then you pull it back out when you make your cherry, put it in the other side, and put it in the freezer, and then you make your blueberry, and you put it in. And you do that with about 6 dividers, so you're not making just one. And then after the final flavor, before you freeze it, you just pull my divider out, and now when you scoop, you go in a semicircular motion like that and hit all 3 flavors, red, white, and blue.
Voila, Superman Italian ices.
Yeah.
And it
Now, what
is
you
6
might be
gallons.
talking about is what you're seeing now is right now there's a guy on the video and he's got little ribbons. And I talked to them. I said, how do you do it? And they said, yeah. Well, I have
You're not
I have a
Steve.
great way of getting, I can get information out of people. You know, they're called Bruno and Knuckles. He uses little scoops. If you watch the video, you're going to see lines going down. And you take a little scoop and you put it on, and then another one, and then another one. At least that's what I was told by my source. So it's very labor intensive. He didn't tell me exactly. I heard from a close source.
Well, that was my theory too. I was like, you gotta be doing little scoops.
Yeah.
Because it's real, it's too much work.
So yeah, it is, and they're all made in advance. It's not made fresh.
It never shows it being made.
But I'll give it to them. They're really cool. They're very cool. And you can bet the soft serve people are trying to figure out how can we make 6 dividers coming out of 1 soft serve, because they can do vanilla and chocolate with a soft ice cream machine. So they're trying to figure out probably now how to do 6 or 7 of them, which would be really cool. But soft serve machines aren't made for Italian ice. It kills the drive system.
So with an Italian ice, would you prefer a dipping case or a deep freezer?
Dipping case.
Dipping cabinet.
Set.
Chest
Set.
freezer.
All right, well.
We already said the same thing.
here's the
But
thing.
chest freezers are a lot more affordable than a dipping cabinet. You can go pick one up for $800 versus a couple grand for a dipping cabinet. In Jeff's theory of you don't have to look at it. I'm a visual person. I want to see what I'm picking. Not everybody's like that. Now, if I couldn't see what I was picking, I'd still buy something anyway.
I'm a food truck owner, so
Yeah.
So when my customers leave with my product, they
Yeah.
don't see it in the front.
No, they
See
don't.
What I'm saying?
So chest
I
freezer.
can see what he's saying. A chest would work.
Yeah.
When they walk away with that product and they see it, that's the first thing they do.
Yeah.
Is where you get that from? So
I'll meet you. I'll meet you halfway on both of them. Christi and I and Mike are experimenting with a new device we found. $35. Basically, what it does is you can take any chest freezer, $600 chest freezer, as opposed to $2,500 for a dipping cabinet. Nice difference. And that chest freezer is set for 15 below to 0. That's its range. That's not going to help us on Italian ice because we're up at 16. When you put up your Christmas lights for outdoors, you put them all up and then you plug them into a timer that then plugs into the wall. And that timer turns your lights on at dusk and then turns them off at 1 in the morning when no one's around, or whatever you set it for. This thing we're looking at is a timer that's basically doing that. The chest freezer is set at 10 below to 0, which doesn't help us. You plug this device into it, set it for 16 degrees, and now it doesn't work like a thermostat. It just shuts the power off to the box. And then when the temperature probe realizes that it went from 16 up to 17, it turns the power back on, just like your Christmas lights. It's so easy. That's why I'm not releasing the name yet, because I want to run it for a few weeks and make sure this damn thing works. But it's on right now. You hear it in the background. You can go over there and look and take down the information. And if that works, it means that the person who has had an ice cream parlor for 40 years and really wants to dabble into Italian ice can now do it on the cheap. You, in your truck, where you're very limited for space, you don't have to go out and buy a second dipping cabinet just for the ice cream and the ices. You can use 2 chest freezers, and like you said, nobody's seeing it. You're just lifting the big lid and scooping it. It's ideal for you. Jeff and I and Christi work on getting people open for about $35,000. No, that's not the signs and it's not the hats, but the equipment itself. We used to be 110 to 180,000, and now I got to make fun of Jeff. He has told me all his life about how he doesn't do sprinkles, doesn't do butterscotch swirl, doesn't do sundaes, any of that stuff. But then all of a sudden, he's got karaoke, and he's got this entertainment, and he's got that. At 900 square feet, you're not going to have room to do all that peripheral stuff. Just sell ice cream and ices, and we got a break for lunch.
Okay.
Thank God.
Okay. Because I was about to hang myself.
It's right over there. Help yourself. A full, big lunch.
Go ahead.
And leave a little room for dessert.
Oh, yeah. We got more desserts.
Cream ice or ice cream? Who wants ice cream? Done. Okay, so we'll make Payday ice cream.
I'm glad we could make it.
There are, amazingly enough, 2 ingredients.
Ready to roll here?
I'm ready. Let me know when you're on, when I'm on.
Wait till I'm out.
Oh, sorry. What am I?
The general flunky here.
Of course, you see that we have fun here, right? And that's the whole business is fun. Now, I'm glad I brought that up. You're going to hit roadblocks. You're going to have hurdles. There's going to be snags. They'll either be concerned with people, equipment, customers, employees. You're going to hit snags. So, you have snags in every job. Except in ours, if you look past the snags, it's green pastures and lots of money. So, what do you mean you hope?
I said, I know.
Oh, yeah, of course. That's a good thing. You know, you don't have to hope I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth. I mean, it's easy as pie. You give me 25 grand, and I'll have you open and selling ice cream in, aside from the delivery on the machine, I'll have you ready to open up in a month. 3 weeks. With a location, with a signed lease, with all your kitchen set up, chairs and tables in there, and customers coming in the door. Okay, enough of that. So we're going to make ice cream, right? Okay. I originally was going to make, it's probably on there as Butterfinger, right?
Yeah.
That's what I wanted to make, Butterfinger. But I went to the stores, and as you know, certain things are just ridiculous. You can't find them. I couldn't find Oreos are getting hard to get now. Butterfingers were non-existent. So I got Payday. And I came in early this morning. What was that? I came in early this morning. Ooh, Mike's following me. Is this as far as we go?
No, we can go further.
Remember the old movie? Slowly I turn, step by step. Oh, look at that. That's pretty cool. It's in the other freezer, though. We've reached our limit, right? I'm in the twilight zone. So I came in early this morning. The way to make any candy bar ice cream, Snickers, Kit Kat, Baby Ruth, Clark bars, Butterfinger, Payday, any candy bar. Look, she's getting her notes out. The way to make it is take that candy bar out of the wrapper, cut it into a few bite-sized pieces, and then put it in the freezer. Okay? You with me so far? That's where we are up to now. Here's the, If you're buying Snickers ice cream, you've all had Snickers ice cream. For the most part, it's a fraud. It's vanilla ice cream with little pieces of Snickers running through it, right? And it's very disappointing because it's vanilla ice cream with little pieces of Snickers in it. What you really want, did you ever buy the Snickers bar ice creams in the store? Oh, now we're talking, right? Now there's ice cream that tastes like Snickers. So what I want all the candy bars, the ice cream to taste just like the candy bar, just like it. So Snickers, I don't care if there's pieces in it. I don't even want pieces in it. I want the ice cream to taste like Snickers ice cream, like you're biting into a Snickers ice cream bar. Same with Payday, same with Kit Kat, same with Baby Ruth, Clark bars, Butterfinger, any candy bar you can think of. And then you can even carry it forward. M&Ms. You order M&M ice cream every place. What are you getting? You're getting vanilla ice cream with M&Ms in it. That's not going to cut it. What we want is the world's greatest ice cream. And to make the world's greatest ice cream, the ice cream better taste like what that sign says it is. Nestle Crunch. I make Nestle Crunch ice cream. It's Nestle's Crunch. And the first thing people do, all my candy bars, Snickers, M&Ms, you can watch them. They do this. Oh man, that tastes just like the candy. That's all I want to hear. That's all I want to hear. So I came in this morning and I cut up the Paydays into bite-sized pieces and I put them in here. Bite-sized pieces. And now we're going to go over to our friend Mr. Ninja. And let's see what we got here. We got, okay, almost enough. I need 3 pounds. I have 2.75 pounds. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to put these in here. The reason we're doing this, by the way, and the reason you would do it with Snickers and everything else, think about the cream that we're putting in the machine. If you take little pieces of Snickers bars and put them in, the cream is only touching a little bit of the Snickers bar, so it's not going to get a lot of the flavor. But if you make Payday dust, which is what we're going to do, we're going to make little teeny tiny pieces of Payday, zillions of them. Now when you put it with the cream, it's infusing it, and it's diluting, and it's spreading out into all the cream, and it'll taste like it. So let's grind these babies up. Get us a container. That's why this blend, you can't do this with a regular blender. You can hear when they're ready. You can hear when they're ready when the big pops stop. That means that they're ground down. Now look at this. What's going to give you more flavor in an ice cream? This or this? So two more times and we should have it. You can tell it's ready, right? You know, you don't have to look at it. One more. Now, some people care about having the chunks in there. I don't. I want flavor. And besides, remember you have that Snickers ice cream, which is basically vanilla ice cream with Snickers? You almost break a tooth on it, you know, it's because it's frozen. No tooth breaking here. So there we are. Okay, let's see. Well, I guess we'll just get rolling. What do we got here? Now, what did we make last time? Salted caramel praline. Is it okay to go from that to this? Of course. Of course. Would we go to strawberry after that? No, no. We could go to chocolate probably.
No.
What?
Actually, no, because you're working with peanuts.
What about it?
You need to save that for the last batch of the day.
Nah, nonsense.
Yes, yes, yes. You
Nonsense.
should, in case of anybody that does have a peanut
Oh,
allergy.
please.
I know. But I care about people, so let's
what, you're
save
saying
it.
I don't care about people?
No.
Here, just throw this in the sink for me.
Okay.
All right. So all we're going to add is mix into the machine, and we're going to need 5 quarts. So what do we have for 5 quarts? We have, this will do. Here's a 20-cent tip, free to you. When you're checking the measuring for something, whether you're using a little measuring cup or a big measuring cup like this, instead of pouring in and doing this, simply turn it. And now when you pour it in, whether it's a little measuring cup or a big one, you don't have to worry about reading it. You can see it plain as day right there. Whoa, that's a great tip. That isn't. It's okay. Okay, 5 quarts of mix. This is the world's simplest. I like simple, by the way, in making ice cream. We'll pour it in. For sticky, a little vanilla. How many ounces? 5. 5. And we'll turn it on. And now we'll add these Snickers.
Payday.
Payday. If you're going to make Snickers ice cream, this you do this and people will talk about it. Boom. Boom. Where's all the spatulas?
I would make it a cream ice. I'm not a fan of making Italian ices that don't consist with.
Where's all the spatulas?
If it's got fruit, Italian ice all the way.
Look
If
under
it's
the table.
peanut butter.
Under the table?
chocolates, Brownies, cream ice.
Christi, where's all the spatulas?
Probably where in the sink where you put them.
Great, thank you. We'll scrape down the sides there, and we'll get a couple of spoons to do our tasting. Although I don't have much doubt about this. That's all right, as long as we got one.
Yes.
Boy, that's good. And you still get a little peanuts in there. What are you going to do with it, right?
I would say toppings. You don't want toppings.
I found in making ice cream, the simpler the better. The fewer ingredients, the better. Not that I don't make some with 5 or 6, maybe 5 ingredients, but the simpler the better. Because if you think about it, the simpler the ingredients, the simpler the list, the less items, the more flavor you're getting from that item. If we made ice cream just with these cookies, what would you taste? These cookies. But if you start adding extra nuts and extra whatever, then you're not diluting it, but you're adding complexity to the flavor, and that'll take away from the guts. That being said, when I make Snickers ice cream, I do add 2 other things. I add some peanuts and I add some caramel, because that's what Snickers is. And I always go for more flavor. Everything I make, I want really flavorful. The ice cream we had before, salted caramel praline, I want that to hit you in the face. So I always, if it's Snickers, I'll add that. Payday, you got nothing to add. It's peanuts out the wazoo. We could add a little caramel. There's some caramel in it, isn't there, that holds the peanuts on the nougat? So, well, we could add a little of that. We happen to have a little left.
Now you just increased your freezing time because you added some more sugar.
What?
I was telling them the increased in the freezing time because you just added more sugar.
Yes, more sugar, right. But it's okay. They got nowhere to go. Okay, now could you add chocolate chips to this? Of course. Could you add cherries? Sure. Because you're going to come up with something that's unique to your store. Nobody's ever had cherry Payday ice cream. But can it be bad? No. If it's got the good stuff in it, it can't be bad. It's not like you're adding lemon juice. You're adding another great sweet thing. What'd you call me? Another great sweet thing? So don't be afraid to play a little bit. You know, I didn't think we were going to add caramel, but there it was. It was just sitting there. It was begging to be added. Now these chips are calling me too. They're just sitting there calling me. Quick show of hands. Should we add chips? Yes or not? Yes? No? Oh, we don't add chips. We don't add chips. Now it's looking right at me. So I got to get rid of them because, Steve, get rid of these chips.
Oh, okay.
Because otherwise they're going in.
Yeah, they're going right in here.
Now, would chips hurt it? No. Would chips help it? Maybe. Maybe you'll come up with a new flavor. Payday chocolate chip. Chocolate chip Payday. Maybe the company that makes Payday will say, whoa, what a great idea. And the next thing you know, Payday is coming with chocolate chips on the wrapper inside their candy bar because you invented it. Do you know what I invented? I invented the Chipwich. Remember Chipwich? 2 chocolate chip cookies, ice cream in the middle, rolled in chocolate chips on the edges. Mine. I invented that. The year was late 70s. My soon-to-be wife had a business. We were selling her amazing chocolate chip cookies in the town of Haddonfield, New Jersey. Point Pleasant, Haddonfield, Cherry Hill. We were selling to delis, restaurants, and they were buying our chocolate chip cookies. They were large ones, and they were very good cookies. And me, being a fat slob, thought, wow, imagine if I had her cookies with ice cream in the middle. So I did it. I put ice cream in the middle of 2 cookies, and it was like that fat. And I said, whoa, and I tasted it. It was beyond belief. And then she had her bag of chocolate, her bucket of chocolate chips to make the cookies with. So I took the thing and I rolled it in there. And there I had the world's first Chipwich. Now, as luck would have it, we had a connection to a cookie man. Hang on. Oh my. Ooh. We knew Tootsie. Tootsie was the provider of cookies in the whole Northeast to all the supermarkets. If you wanted cookies, you went to Tootsie. So, and he was my father's friend. So I said, Toots, I got something I want you to try. And we brought over a few Chipwiches. We brought over Chipwiches. Tootsie tasted them. He went wild. He said, you can sell these. And he right away scribbled on a piece of paper a plastic thing, 6 of them in the freezer section. He said, this is what we'll do. And we said, oh boy. And I said to my wife, I said, go pick out a house. We're going to be phenomenally rich. Tootsie said, these Chipwiches are going to sell like wild. And it was what he drew was a plastic, you know, a bubble plastic thing, 6 slots, 6 Chipwiches. Wow, we're going to be so rich. I'm picturing Learjets, the whole thing. So Tootsie called me a few days later and he said, perfect. I need $50,000 to start. And then we'll work. He said, I got the packaging all arranged. I need 50,000 Chipwiches. Well, that night, Rose and I sat down and we looked at each other and we had a decision to make. Either we abandon our whole life, borrow money, buy a factory, equip it with the Hobart mixers, the whole thing, and hire people, or we wave goodbye to the Learjet. And we just didn't want to take that jump. And in 6 months, what's in the supermarket? Chipwiches. They weren't as good as hers, but there's the Chipwich story.
Okay, boys, he's in here. Come get him.
What'd he say?
I said,
what?
I said, okay, boys, come on in here. Come get him. That's amazing.
That's a true story.
That's a tough decision because
50,000.
Yeah, that's a lot.
It's a factory.
That's 150, 200 today. In today's money, who has that?
But you have to start a factory.
Yeah, you can't go from 0 to 1,000.
No, you can't make them in your house. We couldn't make 50,000 Chipwiches in the house. Not going to happen.
Wow.
You're going to freak out when you taste this. Chocolate chips might have been in it, you know. I'm just saying.
And they're so good frozen at 2 in the morning when you can't sleep. Or just chocolate chips. Yes, the semi-sweet.
Boy, those
Toll House.
Chipwich, you remember Chipwich, right?
Very well, they were great. Huh.
Oh, every time I see a Learjet. We ready?
Yes.
Let's have it.
Give it another minute and a half. One of the questions every group asks is, when do you pull it? How do you know it's ready? But you didn't ask it, so we won't go into it.
When do you know when it's ready?
Oh, good question. Yours won't be ready when mine is. Hers will be ready at a different time. However, there is a constant. The constant is, don't pull it too soon or too late. There's a parameter working there. It's probably a 3-minute parameter, Steve?
Yeah, because you pull a little, everybody pulls different.
Right, I pull it
firmer
sooner.
than you do.
He pulls it firmer. And when you're doing a variegate or adding stuff, you want to pull it later. So it's harder. Otherwise, if it's softer, whatever variegate or additive you're putting in will dissipate through it, and you won't have that niceness. My rule of thumb is, when it holds a peak in the bucket, it's ready. You see how this comes down? It goes like this. Ooh. When it holds the peak, that's when I like it. And it's like 2 minutes either way. You can screw it up.
Yeah.
But you won't, because first of all, you'll be so eager to taste that ice cream you just made. Okay, I think we're pretty good there. Now, Steve says, and rightfully so, when it cuts like a knife, he knows it's ready, right?
Yes, a little bit longer.
If you look at this, it's cutting like a knife. So, and this is something that in overnight you'll be an expert on it. You'll know when to do it. It's a natural thing. We ready?
No, I'm waiting on you.
I know, I'm stalling. Still thinking about those chocolate chips that could have been in here.
Jeff makes love to the machine. I make my ice cream and go.
You're right. I love making ice cream. I love tasting it. I love seeing people eat it. I love the reactions from people. Don't forget, you're going to make the world's best ice cream. Not the guy down the street, not Dairy Queen, not Frazy's, none of them.
Hey, Jeff, enough of this lovemaking. Let's eat.
Let's eat. Okay, let's eat. I always wait for the compressor to go off, just to have it. There it is. You hear it? Woo, look at all that stuff going on in there.
Do you have another one?
Yeah, I got it.
Did you see how that peaked at the end in the tub? That's perfect.
Oh, baby.
And nobody has a peanut allergy, correct? Everybody's good? Okay.
Will you try this?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's got chips.
No.
No, there's no chips?
You took them.
Oh, yes. This is the famous. No, I won't do it to you. I was going to say this is the famous Butterfingers.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. This was supposed to be Butterfingers, but it's okay. You know, it is this. If I didn't have Butterfingers and I bought Snickers, oh well.
Jeff wrote me twice last night and yesterday and the day before and said, "Can't get the Butterfingers. There's a supply shortage. I'm going to do Payday." I said, "Okay, fine. I'll change the paperwork." So as you see on your paperwork, it says Butterfingers. I'll grab a spoon.
Jeff, what does happen if you wait too long? Do you have a hard time getting it out of the machine?
No, it'll come out. The cylinders are canted 5 degrees, as I told you.
Yeah.
You'll get them out. It's just what you like to taste. You know, that's.
It will get to a point where it makes it harder to get out because it's too thick, and it's not doing any disservice to the ice cream to pull it sooner. Well, it's just personal taste. The work is already done. It is good.
This
like
is good.
Yeah, you can certainly taste the Payday. Very nice.
That's good.
Yeah, don't fall in love with your own product.
Why?
Because you'll be on a perpetual diet.
I'm thinking of making this for the store.
Oh, you're not already?
No.
Oh, you should.
We've made Butterfinger and Snickers, but we haven't made...
You've got generations of little kids who don't know what Payday is.
No, nobody knows what Payday is.
Yeah,
Only
so
us old people.
They'll be surprised. Let them have a taste.
And you got good crunch in it?
I love it.
Very nice.
Boy, that's pretty good.
Too bad that you live so far away you can't take any
Oh,
home
I
at
am. I
all.
brought a cooler with me.
Oh, darn. Darn.
I got the cooler. 4 sounds sticky.
It is a little sticky. Any questions for Jeff? He's going to be leaving in a little bit, heading back to the beach, get a little sun. Any final questions for Jeff? There's one, Jeff.
How long do you want it to freeze them for the process, obviously, to hold a better consistency? Or
I make ice cream on Tuesday to sell on Wednesday. I make it on Monday to sell on Tuesday. I make it Saturday to sell on Sunday.
Once you freeze it down to super cold temperatures, you could keep it for weeks and months.
Yeah.
However, if you call up and say, "I've got bubblegum licorice," people have heard this before, "I've got bubblegum licorice in my freezer and it's been there since last July. Is it any good? What's the temperature?" 25 below. It's as good as the day you made it. But
However,
if it's inventory, this is a business. If it's sitting in that freezer since last July, get rid of it. Nobody likes bubblegum licorice ice cream. That's a lousy flavor. Throw it out. I make coffee banana. It's terrible to everybody else. I like it mainly because I then have a total stash of coffee banana ice cream I can eat any day of the week I want because I know nobody will steal it. I go making my straight coffee ice cream that'll put hair on your spleen and it's gone in 5 minutes. So there are reasons for doing a bad flavor, but making money is not one of them. Well, great job, Jeff.
I have another
Is there a
question.
reason why you didn't use this one, the rest of it?
there wasn't enough in here.
Jeff, you have a question?
What?
So I know that you also do as I think you put it, the adult flavors. What all have you tried and made as far as like?
Oh, everything. Everything. I've made, one of my favorites is mint chocolate chip using cream de mint. At the store right now we have amaretto cookie.
The next
And
flavor?
the biggest one always in the last 13 years is Bailey's.
What about like wine or beer or anything like that?
Wine, can I tell them a story?
Go ahead.
Years ago, maybe 12 years ago, I decided to get into I decided to investigate the ice cream business. So I looked up and I found his class, which is what you're sitting in now, called Lunch with the President. And I sat in the back where that pretty little lady is sitting. And he proceeded to make
what?
Merlot chip ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
Out of Merlot wine. And my eyebrows went up. Wow, this is going to be a great journey I'm on. So he made it, and he handed it out, and I sat back there, and I tasted it, and I put it down, and I jumped up from my seat, true story, and I ran outside, and I called my wife. And I said, Rose, we're going to be rich. Because this
and
stuff
excuse
is...
me, I had to interrupt. And Rose is going, oh yeah, like that Chipwich thing.
I said, if this guy, the king of the industry, is making this crap...
You said, if that's this dope.
Huh?
You said, if this dope.
No, if he's making this is the guru. This is the high priest of ice cream. And he's making this, and it's vile. I said, we can make ice cream. So that's when I decided to start, and I started with some wines. And even now, I sell white chocolate Pinot Grigio. It's a good seller. And I made Cabaret, which isn't so good. Wine's a tough sell. The best thing I make is champagne. I only have it for about 6 weeks, right between Christmas, New Year's, around that time of the year, and it's champagne ice cream. It's killer. We take orders for it. People ask for it. They buy quarts of it. It's very good. Some won't. I've been meaning to try Asti Spumante. That'll make a good ice cream.
The best ones, though, are the sorbets.
Yes.
In this machine, I have a very simple recipe I call the Bordeaux wine sorbet. Even though I'm not using Bordeaux wine, I'm just using a cheap, dry red wine. So 2 of the regular bottles, 750 milliliter, 2 bottles of dry red wine. Refill the bottles with water, so 2 bottles of water, 2 pounds of sugar, and 2 to 3 bags of fresh frozen raspberries, thawed and then put into the machine. So 2, 2, 2, and 2. And you've got a fantastically delicious... I don't drink alcohol, so I've never had it. But I can see the reactions from Paula and the rest of the family that everybody loves it tremendously. And it's a nice thing to do if you want to do wholesale, because once in a while I will sell to, say, a wine and cheese bar out in California, but they really don't want to get into making their own product. They'd rather buy it from someone, and this is not something Haagen-Dazs is going to offer you. And you could really do it with pretty much any wine. Champagne, you don't use champagne, you use sparkling white wine. There's no sense using a high-quality alcohol of this kind, the wines, in the machine, because you're just mixing it with sugar and water.
Right.
The Baileys, there's no substitute for Baileys. So you use that. Bourbon vanilla is fantastic. Ice cream, I mean, it's terrific. And the other problem you have with wine products, Jeff doesn't, but most stores, you have to worry about your clientele. Mothers are not going to be happy that you're selling alcohol products in their store, because they don't want Junior, who is 6'4" and 15 years old, playing on the basketball team, to come in and lower his voice and say, I'd like some of that Bordeaux wine sorbet. And then you say, you got proof? Oh, yeah, it's out of my car, I'll go. And he runs away. But your biggest problem is it costs more to make. So Jeff doesn't have to do it, or he doesn't do it because he charges a lot at the start. I can get away with 2 signboards. Adults only ice cream. You must be 21 years of age to purchase these.
Bacon?
And it's $1 or $2 or $3 more than the regular ice cream. And that's acceptable because everybody knows alcohol costs more. But it's a great fun thing to do. People have been doing CBD. We had a rash of CBD calls last year. It was a fad. It lasted about 6 months. Nobody calls up about putting marijuana or the not related to marijuana CBD into ice cream. It just came and went because, as Jeff always says, this is a treat. This is not something to, make your bones, keep from aching or in any way get you high except for the alcohol. Just keep it simple and keep in mind, no matter who you are, for the most part, your clientele is going to be the kids. Dad's got the wallet, but the kids direct where the car is going to go. And you want them to say they're coming to my place. Jeff's original store, he always said he allows kids, they just can't come in the store. They stay in the car. It's true. He was running a nightclub. And now we can talk about it because he's not in that business. In the villages. It wasn't too hard. It was such a great story because I'm not there yet, but my older sister, having dinner at 4:30, and then by 7 o'clock, and then one spouse, usually the wife, is saying to the husband, now you can have 2 glasses of wine and then you're cut off. And they have to do 2 glasses of wine, that's it. Then about 7 o'clock, hey honey, let's go down to Jeff's place and get some ice cream. Okay, great, because they both know there's an ounce of bourbon in the bourbon vanilla ice cream. And they're driving their golf cart, so how much trouble can they get in? And so he's got this huge clientele coming in every night. It's a nightclub. It was the greatest deal going. It was beautiful.
Yeah, well, everybody knows you can't get drunk off of ice cream.
Not much. Well, if you eat as much ice cream as I do, you could.
All right, who's ready to make some candied maple bacon ice cream?
All right.
You see ice cream with real...
Do you like that?
Yeah, real quick. 2 750 milliliter bottles of dry red wine. Refill those bottles with tap water. And 2 pounds of sugar.
Gelato pan.
And 2 to 3, the bags at Publix here in Florida are 11-ounce bags. So approximately 2 to 3 11-ounce bags. That's going to be to taste. I mean, there's nothing in those bags but fresh picked raspberries. There's no syrups. And you just thaw them out because otherwise it would get icy. And you just throw that in and it's great.
How much sugar was it again?
2 pounds. 2, 2, and 2. 2 wine, 2 water, 2 sugar, and at least 2 bags of raspberries.
When you sell it in the store, are there any special licensing?
Oh, I don't think you could.
Yeah.
I think there are places. Whole Foods has brought a few in, but they have to go strictly by the code. So theoretically, you do too, but define the code. It says 7% or 4% by volume, and when the inspector comes in, you say, is this 7% by volume? Oh yes. No, actually, it's 6%. Nobody's measuring. I'm sorry. If they're doing that, then what about the people at McDonald's who are getting? I can't say it. Never mind. They're not. It's subjective. Jeff, one last thing, Christi. I'm sorry. One last thing. Jeff had an inspector come in and asked about liquor in the ice cream. And the way I hear the urban legend is the inspector finally said, you can put alcohol in ice cream in Florida, and you can put it in a cup and you can serve it. But if you take that bourbon vanilla and scoop it and put it in a blender and turn it into a milkshake, you're breaking the law. That's a mixed drink. And you can't sell mixed drinks without a license. That's nutty. But I'll take it every day. I'm sorry, Christi, go ahead.
Oh, no, you're the talker.
No, I'm going to shut up.
No. Because you got to stay up here. Everybody knows me just from the videos, and you call and chat with me. I'll talk your ear off on the phone, but I'm not still the best at doing all of this in front of people, and
you're doing
they all
great.
watching me. Well, anyways, I don't have the recipe formula in front of me. I know pretty much, so you're just going to have to tell me what I'm doing. So,
I have it.
3.5 quarts of mix, right?
Is this Mickey's?
Yep.
3.5 quarts of mix.
Well, they can do it.
Okay. No, they don't have it.
Yes, they do.
You all have it? Yeah. Okay, good.
What's after the mix, guys? All right. And what's after the vanilla?
Brown, cup and a half of brown sugar.
All right. Let's get this started. Has anybody had ice cream with real bacon in it?
It usually gets soggy, but this doesn't. Christi's husband, Mickey, makes the flattest bacon that anybody's ever seen in the world. The trick is he uses an anvil. He just puts it down on it, and actually he got me one for Christmas. I think it says Cuisinart on it, and it weighs like an anvil, but it's got a handle, and you just put it on there, and it'll flatten anyone, or anything.
Syrup? All right. We're going to go ahead and turn this on. You said tablespoons? Yeah? All right. Well, this is what we're going to do.
6 tablespoons.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Now you're getting like Jeff.
I am. That's too time consuming. And then what else? The candied bacon, which is right here. Has anybody had just candied bacon?
You'll have to speak up.
Huh?
You'll have to speak up the new fan motor. This is the largest selling batch freezer in the world because it'll do everything that the bigger machines will do. It has all the same features, same average lifespan of 40 years, same materials go into it, and being air-cooled, it often gets into restaurants where sometimes you get kitchens that are 100 degrees, 110, and other equipment is failing. That's why we've put such high-performance motors in here to really circulate the air. And it's a great way to get going. If you need to double your production, you hire someone else to work the night shift. And when you need more production, you won't need more production, you'll need more space, more chest freezers or hardening cabinet. And then if you ever decide to go up to a 24 quart because of demand, you can sell it. Someone told me the other day a very good analysis. They said you can buy a Rolex watch in 1990 and sell it in 1995 for exactly what you paid for it, because the cost of that Rolex has gone up, but the value of the Rolex is so high that you'll get what you pay for. We see these selling that were sold 9 years ago for $9,950, and they're on the market for $10,000, and they're scooped up in a couple of hours because there are no Emery Thompsons. Now, I wouldn't do it because the new one is just a few thousand more than that, $13,500. But you'll never lose money on it. Any other questions as we're doing this? No? They're silent.
I know. We've said it, I think, 10 times today. You guys are awfully quiet. Normally, everybody's so loud and we have to tell them to shush.
Yes.
Current delivery time.
Yeah.
Oh, so on the smaller, at this moment, you're looking about 4 to 6 weeks, and then for the larger one, you're looking about 14 weeks. We are so slammed with a lot of orders, which is a good problem to have. It's just the whole world is just booming in frozen desserts, so we have about 140 something orders up on the board just for the larger machines alone. So we're doing what we can. Yes.
You ship them anywhere?
We do. We ship them globally. Well, you're off camera. Nobody can see you.
141 countries. Hey, I'll tell you a tip. Order it from Christi because I'm 8 weeks. And maybe we'll get you down to 6, but she's saying 4 to 6, so you might as well order it from Christi.
Now, those that are watching this on YouTube, this can definitely change in a week or 2 weeks or a month from now. So don't call me a year later and go, you said 4 weeks.
We'll get to it.
You talking about the stand? That's separate. It's powder coated and it's got casters on it, 2 lock, 2 don't. Plus it also comes with the hardware to bolt the machine to the stand, because the machine does have a slight vibration, so you don't want it to vibrate off.
Interesting, the purpose of the stand isn't just to have a stand. It's because when you take that machine and put it up here, at my height, they're never going to hire me for the NBA. I am up here and pouring in. And you do the above the shoulders all day long, and they're going to really hurt. So I had our engineer, Slade Harmon, design me a stand where I could go like this. I'm more of a woman's height, and I can do it like this without hurting my shoulders. So that's why the height. You can put it on any sturdy stand that you want. Yes, sir. The 2 smaller machines, that one and this one, are air-cooled only. Yeah. You had a question, Jeff, or no, you're done? Okay. Yeah, I'd say we're 8 weeks and then shooting for 6. The beauty is we're not waiting for anything sitting on a boat offshore of Los Angeles. We have 3 buildings. We make most of the parts. We have a foundry in Wisconsin. We make the castings there. We make most of our own parts. And then what we don't make, like motors and compressors, we buy from Copeland Corporation, the best compressor in the world and made in Ohio. And we buy motors made in the USA. So we're not waiting on anybody. It's just right now we have 142 orders that we have to fill of all different size machines. And so the wait time is just a wait to get finished being built. We hand make them. You'll see that when we take the tour. It's a walk around factory, no assembly lines. But people say, how long does it take to build a machine? It takes about 3 weeks. But the sub parts of it, the casting for the door is pure stainless steel. That's about 5 months. And so I always have to be thinking 2 years in advance, what am I going to need? And I'm always gambling, and I always end up right of what I'm going to need. The nice thing about a family business is in a corporation that's owned by stockholders, all the money's got to go out in dividends. In a family business, everything stays in the family. So I can come in and say, the price of copper is going up this morning because they just banned mining of it in Alaska. Go buy $50,000 worth of copper. I can do that because I'm only reporting to myself. And the other thing is that $50,000 sitting in the bank is getting 0.02% interest. Why not buy copper, which just went up 60 cents, in one day? So we are much more flexible than a mega corporation. That's why we sell more than them. Yes, sir. Oh, they're just sold to the American. He just scratched his ear with his pen. He just bought the machine. Congratulations, you're going to love it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The freight is additional.
I'm sorry?
Freight, shipping is additional.
Yes, shipping is additional.
What are the options for financing?
We have one option. We have our own lease company that we use exclusively called Sterling Capital Leasing. In fact, we don't take leases from other companies because they're all privately owned, and I just don't think very much of them. The lease company that we use exclusively, we've been with for over 20 years. What we would do whenever anybody wants to buy a machine, we take their information, we write them a quote, and we send it to them. If they're interested in leasing, we send a copy to the lease company, and then you talk to them and to see if this is right for you. Private money, as opposed to a bank, is always going to be higher interest than a bank would be. The only problem is the banks just aren't loaning. So, a very hard time. So, leasing is available, but it will be higher than public money. So all you can do is wait and see. They'll tell you all day long how it's a deduction and how great that is, but the fact is, it's still money coming out of your pocket. If you've got a 2% mortgage, that's wonderful, but it's still 2% you're paying to the bank. It'd be nicer if it was just your cash. Anybody else? How's it looking?
Good. There's some in the pan. It tastes like a spoon.
No, I've had it before. It's the best ever.
Anybody see the pickle Italian ice video? Yeah? It was very good. I don't care what anybody says. The audience actually really did like it. They were very surprised, and that was another bacon thing. Put a strip of bacon in there, and it was the Clausen pickles. One customer, I think, tried to make it with just, I'm pretty sure, normal pickles. Nothing beats a Clausen. You have to have the Clausens. And grinding those up and then adding some sugar and the strip of bacon, it was really good.
I'm an optimist. The bacon was great.
I'll just say you would have ate the whole thing versus the mint chip. My husband. Mickey just like the mouse. He's gotten it his whole life.
All I can say is it's good you already secured that job as Vice President of Sales and Marketing.
I get a kick when we go to Disney World and I forget his name is Mickey and I lose him and I start shouting, Mickey, Mickey, and everybody's like, where? And he pops out, he's like, yeah? And I'm like, oh crap. I do forget.
This one, Christi added additional sugar into it, so the freezing time will be longer than, say, a straight vanilla. The bacon doesn't have any effect, but the extra sugar does.
Yep. And then, so this was sugar, and then the dairy mix already had sugar. So it's sugar, sugar, sugar. So it's going to take a little bit longer to freeze. About the same amount of time as an Italian ice would. Any other questions? No? Just want to eat bacon ice cream? I can get it. Try bacon ice cream? Gonna try candied maple bacon ice cream?
What do you think I'm here for?
Jeff, when is your next class?
There's a sign.
Look at the sign. All right. Fell off, okay.
Oh, I can't say it on air. Oh.
What?
Can't say it on TV.
Why not?
Because you always told me that.
Oh, only because they age. You know, in 5 years it'll be more. What is the price? He disappeared. My feeling is any information that you can get from anywhere is valuable. And as we've seen today, Jeff is an extremely good teacher. And maybe his ice creams are a little better than mine. Well, all right, they're a lot better than mine. Well, that's exactly what I do. I keep trying to experiment. I push the envelope. I experiment.
Right.
And then usually Christi takes my ideas and turns it into a real ice cream.
I experiment, but they come out good.
I'm a big picture concepts kind of guy. Why am I holding
Don't they remind you of Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau?
Yes. It's not my fault he's always wrong. Jeff, how many people can you take in your class? So there's still time.
Okay, I'm gonna pull it.
Yeah. Christi's gonna pull this now, if you can see it. Everybody, can you see this coming out?
It'll take you from here to here, with everything. And right now, these 4 people, I know, make the greatest ice cream in the world. Right?
That is true.
Because they work their buns off making it.
May I do this?
It's an Emery Thompson 24 I use, and the recipes are good for the 6-quart, 12-quart, 24-quart. And Monday we worked from just making ice cream from 1 o'clock to 7:30. So 7.5 hours of just making ice cream. And every single one of them was at the machine at one point making ice cream. It's good. I get a kick out of, I guess hundreds have taken the class. And I get 60 emails a day from people all over the world with questions about their stores, and they've all gone through the class, and it gives me great joy.
Christi's got the ice cream finished. And we advertise the machine as a 6-quart finished. I know it makes more than that, but that's what we advertise it for. Christi's pulling from a 6-liter pan, which is slightly underfilled, so that's 6 quarts, and then now we have over here more. So that will help with your production too.
Any questions?
Yeah, no, we think that we've just about covered everything there is, so if you'd like, after we try this, we'll take a tour of the factory and show you around, show you how we hand make them. And you can reach us by calling the number, the 718 number. You can email us, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. when we say, we tell people that every machine comes with lifetime technical support, no matter whether you picked it up used or not. Even if you don't buy a machine from us, if you just want to ask more questions, or if you buy someone else's machine, you still have lifetime technical support with us just for contacting us. So we're not, maybe not the geniuses, but we do have a lot of resources, but just because of the age of the company, how long we've been here. So any question that comes up, you can email Christi or me, you can call us. There are not a lot of companies where you can call up and ask for someone by first name and get right through to the president of the company. But that's what we do. And I know Christi works all weekends. Fortunately, she doesn't take phone calls, because then she'd be me taking phone calls on all weekends. But we're available a lot of time, and so please use us. We have great resources. By resources, you want to talk about vanilla, Lockhead vanilla, you call us up, and we'll get you to the top person at Lockhead to take an order, Darren Rotman. And Darren can help you out. Same thing with iRice Company, same thing with dipping cabinet companies, and with Tie-Dye Jeff. Yeah.
So what do you think?
You like it?
It's amazing.
Oh, good.
It's a reputation maker.
This is,
Now you've had ice cream with real bacon in it. And it's candied bacon.
So when we order these, we call you guys, Christi, and order, make the order.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'm
Definitely.
always here to help. Anything you would add or change or make different about this bacon ice cream?
maple.
My husband thinks
More maple.
I would add more maple.
Maple syrup.
I've had the maple bacon donuts. And this is kind of in that vein of.
If you were to add more syrup, it most likely wouldn't freeze. So adding what little we did is great, but if you're wanting more maple, I would suggest a maple flavoring. Otherwise, if you add that, it's never going to freeze at all. It'll just be soup.
You make donuts?
No, I said I've had the maple bacon donuts.
Uh-huh.
And it's a delicious.
Gee, you could put this in between the two maple bacon donuts and go home to your wife and say, we're going to be rich. We're going to sell maple donuts.
Maple, and every time I do it, I feel like Ralph Cramden. Some harebrained scheme.
I could have been a contender.
Did you hear that? I got an amazing out of mine. You didn't get an amazing out of your flavors today, sir.
No, it was pretty good. No.
That brings up an interesting question.
What do you think?
It was awesome. Yours?
Yeah.
Was amazing. Hers was very good.
Amazing to pretty good. On that note.
No, you see what's going on here?
Well, anybody can go to the store and buy Paydays.
I get calls all the time. They say, tell me, who, in your personal opinion, who makes the best ice cream? And I used to, agonize over this. Is it Campanaries in Prospect, Illinois? Is it Four Seas Ice Cream on Cape Cod? Is it Tie-Dye Jeff in Florida? And I finally realized there's only one proper answer when you're making your own ice cream. Who makes the best ice cream? I do. I meaning you.
Yeah.
You make the best ice cream. There is nobody better ice cream than your ice cream. And that's the attitude you get. And then you can get into these fun, food fights with your friends over who made the better ice cream. But that really is the truth. You'll be making the best ice cream that anybody's ever had, and they'll be telling you all day long, unless you make Sharknado or now mint chip. But somebody's got to do this experimenting,
And I love that you do it.
Yeah, on the Orville and Wilbur or whatever it is. My plane just can't seem to get off the ground on flavors.
You just need to find a candy corn flavoring, so it's not the actual candy corn.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Or maybe people just don't want an Italian ice that reminds them of being bit by a shark. That could be a problem too. So what do you say? You ready to take a tour? Good. If I had one of those little flags, I'd hold it up and you could follow me, but we're just going out this door. You can take them with you if you want, or leave them here, whatever you like. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, audience, for coming. Really appreciate you.